Tonight from Woodbine Mohawk Park, 3-year-old trotters take center stage in the $560,000 Canadian Trotting Classic. This year's Hambletonian champion will not be among the starters, making it a wide open affair and leaving the door open for others to grab the spotlight. Although she won't be in the field, Ramona Hill will compete on tonight's program as she headlines the Elegantimage final for the fillies. It's another star-studded, stakes-filled night of racing, and it's coming up next on COSA-TV. Woodbine Mohawk Park in Campbellville, Ontario. Once again, the scene of another spectacular Saturday night program in what has been an incredible month of racing here in Campbellville, Ontario. A look at the scene this evening. We are under crystal clear skies. Temperature has dipped below 12 degrees Celsius, however, as it feels autumn-like in the air. And we will be playing on a fast 7/8 mile oval. Hi again, everybody, and welcome trackside. Greg Blanchard alongside Mark McKelvey, who's been a busy gentleman today. Mark, you had to hustle back after being part of closing day at Hanover Raceway, and a big shout out to them for what was a really successful year.
It really was. Obviously, things are a lot different this year here in 2020 as we live in this current COVID era. But going into this year, there was some new men at the helm there at Hanover Raceway, including General Manager Steve Fitzsimmons, his assistant Tony Elliott. They had some big plans, and while they weren't able to execute them in front of fans, they did a great job this season raising their handle, putting on a great show all summer long, and I think the future is very bright. So I was happy to be part of their big day today to wrap up 2020. Really looking forward to 2021 at one of the gems of Ontario racing.
Absolutely, and speaking of gems of Ontario racing, a couple of them here tonight as our main events, the Elegantimage and the Canadian Trotting Classic. So 3-year-old trotters certainly in the spotlight here this evening. Wonderful undercard though as well tonight in our 5-pack, which includes Milton Stakes eliminations. And on that theme tonight, we present our poll question for you this week. And it's going to mark the return of Caviart Alley, who is the 2-time defending champion in the event. But we haven't seen her in action in quite some time, and it really has been a disappointing season for this world champion mare. She has come in off of a couple of qualifying victories, though, into the elims tonight, and the question is simple. Can she turn around her disappointing season here with a three-peat in the Milton? Yes or no, have your say. Leave us a comment on any of the social media platforms where you are tuning in tonight. We would love to hear from you. And every time you do leave a comment for us in that poll question, you'll be automatically entered for our grand prize draw at season's end for an urban e-bike. Compliments of our good friends at hoofbid.com, valued at approximately $3,500. So have your say. We'd love to hear from you wherever you are tuning in this evening. Time to bring in the other member of our broadcast team. She'll be all smiles tonight because the Fellows stable won earlier this evening with Logan Park. Jamie McDonald to tell us what we can look forward to tonight. Jamie?
Thanks, guys. It's actually a little bit chilly out here on the track tonight, but we do have a bit of a crowd here, so getting the atmosphere going a little bit here for us for our action-packed 5-card of racing, as you had mentioned. But before I get to what we're covering, I got a chance to talk to Jody, Doug, James, and Louie about their starters in our coverage tonight. We're kicking it off with Race 5 of the Canadian Trotting Classic, moving into the first of 2 limbs of the Milton in Race 6. Race 7 is our non-winners of 16,000 last 5. Race 8, that second Milton elimination for our coverage, and Race 9, the Elegantimage. So stay tuned after this quick commercial break for Action Packed.
horse. Download the app today.
And welcome back as we get set for the first of 5 here this evening. 560,000 on the line. It is the main event, Canadian Trotting Classic, a 3-year-old open contest, and it really does bode well for, I think, potential year-end honors in some of these categories. And the big news is here, I think, Mark, tonight is that the filly will be in the Elegantimage, the filly who won the Hamiltonian, her name Ramona Hill. So that's good news for the boys.
It certainly is, especially for the favorite here in the Canadian Trotting Classic, that being Ready for Money, who only has that one loss on the season, and that came to Ramona Hill in the Hamiltonian. But of course, when you look at the Hamiltonian and the Hamiltonian Oaks, there's about $500,000 in difference in the purse. Not as significant between the Canadian Trotting Classic and the Elegantimage. So the fillies deciding that they're going to duke it out amongst themselves, and that's going to leave the boys on their own.
All right, there's another look at the complete schedule that we have tonight, kicking it off in style with the Canadian Trotting Classic, as mentioned, and part of a super Saturday of racing once again. We've dubbed it a September to Remember here because each and every Saturday night program throughout the month has had something spectacular to offer, and tonight is no exception. So make sure you use that hashtag as well, September to Remember _ COSA-TV whenever you're commenting, and you'll be entered for a chance to win. Earlier tonight, Jamie caught up with driver Jody Jamieson. He's got a pretty good lineup coming in tonight, including Play Tricks on Me here in the Canadian Trotting Classic. And here's Jody and Jamie with their thoughts.
Play Tricks on Me. So you were second with him 2 starts back. What was something that stood out to you?
But I felt like if I sat on Ready for Money's back that night, that I had a really good chance to beat him. I was coming to him hard at the wire, and you know, even though Ready for Money was a well-meant winner, I just felt that Play Tricks on Me had a shot that night if the trips worked out a little bit differently. So I'm real confident in him tonight. I think he suits that bunch. I think I'm going to throw out last week, and you know, hopefully he races back to the way he was the first time I drove him.
And who would you view as a horse to watch out for in this race?
Obviously, Ready for Money is the one. There's some bunch of new horses in there, especially that drew well. I don't think they're going to figure the way that maybe the odds boards are going to show, but I think it's Ready for Money, HP, Royal Theo, and Play Tricks on Me.
Moving on to race 6 for the Milton elimination, you have Kissin in the Sand leaving from post 4. Have you learned anything about this mare?
You know, obviously, we watch the race all the time. We watch the races from the Meadowlands lots, and you know, she's got great gate speed, and I'm sure I'll use the gate speed tonight and get her spotted. She's coming off a qualifier, and a little bit of her form isn't the greatest right now, but Nancy said she's feeling great. She obviously qualified great, and you know, with a little luck, she'll get in the final. Not much luck, really, just enough to get into the final, and then hopefully she's better a week from tonight.
And with a handful of sub-50 marks in her last few starts down in the States, what are your thoughts on her tonight?
You know, I think she's got a shot. Like I said, she's going to need to be a little bit tighter. You know, so, you know, like Nancy said, she's qualified great, but she's probably going to need one more start. So hopefully tonight's that start, and then we get into the final and work on next week.
Thanks for joining us here, and good luck.
Anytime, thanks.
And welcome back, and there's a look at Jody on Play Tricks on Me for trainer Linda Toscano. Yeah, had 3 consecutive runner-up finishes before that last race, where that park out in the middle half did not work out for the Colts, and he backed up in the final quarter. So looking for a big rebound here. A lot of history in this event, Mark. You go way back to 1976. It's when it all started. Keystone Pioneer won the first edition for the legendary Billy Houghton. Joe O'Brien won it in year 2 with the great Ima Lula. So it speaks to the kind of competitors that have always had this race on their calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, in my opinion, a race that if they were ever maybe switch up the Trotting Triple Crown, how could this race be left out? It is one of those signature events, and all the top horses have come to contest it over the years. I know earlier this week, Woodbine Entertainment on their social media threw back some old replays of the Canadian Trotting Classic from earlier in the 2000s. You had Yankee Paco, who of course then went on to become the first Canadian sired horse to win the Hamiltonian. Cadabra, there's so many greats, and even most recently last year, Green Manalishi from what was a 3-headed monster that trainer Marcus Melander had. So this is a race filled with history, as you mentioned, Greg.
One thing we do know that Tim Tetrick's small win streak in the event is going to come to an end tonight. Is not here driving, of course. He's won the last 2 editions, one as last year, as you mentioned, with Green Manalishi, and then the year prior to that, guided Crystal Fashion to a 152 and 1 victory. Stakes record, What the Hill, 151 and 4 back in 2017. It was nice to see that year. It atoned somewhat, we'll say, for the terrible luck he had in the Hamiltonian in getting DQ'd in that event. So we look at the field here tonight. It appears like it's a 1-horse show, but I'm not so sure. Ready for Money, clearly the horse to beat in here, but some other nice colts that certainly will be there if he's not quite the Ready for Money we've seen of late.
That's right, and I think the Ben Bayarjan duo of HP Royal Theo and Hayek will have something to say. Post 7 and 9 for those trotters. HP Royal Theo was last year's Wellwood Memorial winner, so he's looking to follow in the footsteps of Green Manalishi, who pulled that double last year. And I just think they're going to be in the mix here. They don't just show up to race. They want to make sure that they make their presence known, and having them both to the outside would indicate to me that someone will be going forward here to try and mix things up. Again, you're looking at the board right now. Of course, Ready for Money is going to be the favorite, and 2 to 5, that's probably deserved. But I think a 10 to 1 price in HP Royal Theo is a little enticing right now.
Yannick Gingras will be looking for his 4th victory in the event. One of 3 consecutive years for trainer Jimmy Takter, not surprisingly. The winningest conditioner in the history of this event, captured the 2014 edition with Father Patrick. Right back in 2015 with Pinkman, and then completed the 3-peat with Bar Hopping in 2016. And interesting, Mark, is the race, gains more history and has been around quite some time. You start to see stallions who were previous winners of the event producing horses in the field, and Royalty for Life and Muscle Hill fit that bill.
Yeah, they absolutely do, and they are represented here tonight. Of course, Muscle Hill has just been dominating over the last several years in the stallion ranks after he had that incredible career on the track. Royalty for Life, he was a lot of fun to watch as well. So they're represented in here. How about, though, the fact that, and I know they're going to go to the gate here in a second, Ready for Money by that European stallion, Ready Cash, who is really starting to make his presence felt in North America.
All right, the richest edition of the event was the $1.3 million 2003 Canadian Trotting Classic, captured by Mr. Muscleman. Nice purse again this year, $560,000 on the line in Canada's version of the Hamiltonian. And to call the action, Ken Middleton.
Trained trotting son of Ready Cash and reigned Yannick Gingras. 5 wins from 6 starts. He comes in riding a 3-race winning streak, a sweep of the Good Times, and prior to that, a score in the Zweig. It's post time for tonight's 5th race. The gate picks up speed for tonight's 5th. The Canadian Trotting Classic Final. And they're off, and a good beginning inside. 3:52 showing sharp hustle for McClure as he sizes up the other speed. There's Beyond Chronos blasting from post 8. In at the railway 3rd is Sky Castles. Between them and 4th is Play Tricks on Me. Wide outside, Ready for Money there from in 5th. 6th inside as they trot to the turn is Chestnut Hill. Further back we go to find HP Royal Theo. We did have a first turn breaker. Beyond Chronos blew up at long odds. Beyond Chronos on the run. Quarter was 27 and 4. A quarter cut by 3:52. Here on the outside comes Ready for Money now, getting into gear for Gingras. Back into 3rd is Sky Castles. Play Tricks on Me 4th, 5th outside to HP Royal Theo. 6th towards the rail, that is Chestnut Hill. 7th inside to Jula Tricks Treasure. Underway outside goes Hayek, tracked by Shadrach Hanover, and right back in it Beyond Chronos, and the lead belongs to Ready for Money. The big favorite successfully brushed to the front, puts up a 56 and 4 half, got a second quarter in 29 seconds flat, and will lead them into the final turn. Ready for Money over 3:52. Now outside to Play Tricks on Me from 3rd. Cover outside for the parked out HP Royal Theo 4th. 5th inside to Long Shot Sky Castles. 6th on cover Hayek. Buried 7th, that's Chestnut Hill. Towards the inside, Jula Tricks Treasure. Shadrach Hanover next to last. And the trailer remains Beyond Chronos. Make it a 2.5 length lead for Ready for Money, who hits the accelerator 3/4 in 125 at 28 1/3. third, 352 back into second. Overland from in third, Play Tricks on Me. HP Royal Theo 3 wide off cover from in fourth now. Into the stretch. Ready for Money is still there. Off stride on the lead. Ready for Money rolled into a break. Outside closing, HP Royal Theo made a break. Play Tricks on Me. Coming through at the cones, Chestnut Hill. Chestnut Hill, how in the world did Chestnut Hill do it? In 153.250 did it at 60 to 1.
Wow, what an action-packed edition of the Canadian Trotting Classic, and they're likely going to be a little while sorting things out here over the final eighth of a mile. Ready for Money inexplicably rolls off stride, Mark, and with the benefit of that close-up camera shot, you could see him getting a little out of gear, and you know, it's easy to look back in hindsight, but even last week when he was clearing to the lead in the good times, he got a little funky gated at the end, but tonight could not hold it together. And there is Andy McCarthy, Johnny on the spot, and wow, 60 to 1, bombs away here in a wild and woolly Canadian Trotting Classic.
And you see there on the replay, Yannick Gingras rolls off stride with Ready for Money, and he's not sure where he's going to go at first. He thought about going to the inside, and you'll see him take a peek over his left shoulder here. He sees Andy McCarthy coming, and he probably helps him win the race there. The fact that he doesn't get in his way. If he goes right to that inside, even just for another second longer, that might stop the momentum of Chestnut Hill. Ultimately, he's able to go straight back, really doesn't interfere with anyone. And how about the fact HP Royal Theo, he looked like maybe he was going to be the one to benefit, sweeping up on the outside, but he too rolls off stride. So just a wild finish there.
Yeah, we're going to be a little while sorting this out. Lots to look at here in the closing strides. And, you know, how in the world does Chestnut Hill avoid the breaking horse? You know, and generally that would have cost him so much momentum that there's no way he could, you know, get collected and come back through to win it. But full marks to the Muscle Hill Colt for getting it done. And, you know, here's one that won a stakes event last time in Pennsylvania in 53. He's a career winner of $350,000. He's no slouch and just simply overlooked on the tote board tonight.
Yeah, that is the case. He had a pretty decent rookie year where he made almost $250,000, went 2 for 11. Part of that nifty Norman stable that also included his stablemate Amico Volo. So they had, I'm sure, high expectations coming into this year to win in a race like this with one of these trotters, and finally things do fall into place nicely here tonight for Chestnut Hill to come through. He was a very rich yearling purchase at over $400,000, $410,000 to be exact at the Lexington Select sale. So Chestnut Hill, the biggest win of his career, taking the 2020 edition of the Canadian Trotting Classic.
And that will be the richest payday, certainly, of his career. And check out the odds of your top 4 finishers. Play Tricks on Me at 7 to 1. Then you've got HP Royal Theo, who had the miscue late. So the judges will be looking at that. Jula Tricks Treasure, another long shot, at 35 to 1. This race caps off our early pick 5. And Mark, that's a popular wager. Some 125,000 in the pool tonight. This is going to be some kind of a payout because we've already had some upsets along the way.
Yeah, we have. Things got shaken up in the first race with a heavy favorite going down. You then go to the OSS Gold event, which I know we'll talk about in a little bit, but Macho Martini eyes were on him again, and he got wiped out in that race as well. So it's been just a funny night to this point. We're 5 races in. We're only in the first race of our coverage of this evening's action here on COSA-TV, and if this is any indication, we're in for a lot of fun. So Chestnut Hill, 60 to 1 stunner. And like you mentioned, Greg, inquiry sign was obviously posted. It'll take a little bit to sort things out, but I can't wait to get another look at that stretch drive once again, because as you watch Yannick Gingras here, I mean, he's got to make some split-second decisions. And I think even looking there, Chestnut Hill lost that momentum for a moment and still somehow, just like he was shot out of a cannon there in that final 100 meters.
Yeah, it's incredible. You know, and at a point here, it looks like Jody, who was first over a long way, looks like he is maybe going to win. His colt even putting in a couple of funny steps there and just kind of has to hold them together late as well. So yeah, you just don't see this too often at this level. But you know, it's horse racing, and several of them had a chance to win it in the late stages. And again, Johnny on the spot, Chestnut Hill. So while they're having a look at it and sorting things out here as the inquiry sign remains posted, let's take a quick commercial break, and on the other side, we'll try and sort things out for this year's edition of the Canadian Trotting Classic.
COSA, the Central Ontario Standardbred Association, proudly serving Ontario horse people with integrity and accountability. Collaborative, supportive, helping to ensure a vibrant harness racing industry. Lifetime membership is free and there are many benefits. Become a new member today. COSA, representing the interests of horse people racing at Ontario racetracks. To find out more, visit COSAonline.com.
Welcome back to Woodbine Mohawk Park and the Canadian Trotting Classic. And there it is. The numbers are in, and check out the returns here. Staggering. 122.90. This is so shocking, Mark. We haven't even had a chance to check the record books. I'm not sure if that's a record payout or not for this event, but if not, it's right up there. There's no question. 122.90. And there was a placing, so Juliet Trick's Treasure gets promoted to third, and 352 fourth. Massive returns. Let's go hear from the winning connections now.
Andy McCarthy, are you as surprised as we are?
Maybe not as surprised as you guys. You know, I've been watching this horse down there, and he has been sneaky good. His last 2 or 3 starts, he's been very good. You know, I ended up in a spot that I wasn't too happy about heading into the last turn there, but worked out where I got to shake him out and sneak him back up the inside there.
Talk about that down the stretch. We know Yannick made the break in front of you, but how close was that to being maybe real bad?
Pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of yelled out and just to let Yannick know there was someone on the inside of him, and so it worked out where he he heard me and didn't want to crash into me, so he done a good job getting that horse out of the way safely, and it worked out good for me. I got to sneak up there.
Pretty handy to have a slick-gated trotter like that can quickly change direction like yours.
Oh, absolutely. When I first moved him heading into the home stretch there, he had a ton of trot. He really wanted to go places, but it was just a matter of finding a way through. And once I had to kind of check him there mid-stretch, and I had to get him going again, but he did. He took off.
We know you made a big commitment to come here, obviously, and winning races like this certainly helps. This isn't one you were planning on, but when you did decide to come here, did you know then you were going to pick up this horse, or was this something you just found out a few days ago?
No, I might have found out last weekend.
Okay.
Nifty called me and told me he was sending him up and asked if I'd drive him. I said absolutely. I don't think I've driven the horse before, but I've obviously raced against him enough that I know he's got the ability to do some good in races like this. It was unfortunate for the connections Ready for Money and fell apart tonight, but it worked out for us.
Well, it's working out for us because we're getting a front row seat to seeing you just tick off all these big races on your resume here in Canada. Congratulations and continued success, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Chad. I'm just in a very fortunate spot right now. I've got a lot of good people wanting to use me. It's great. Thank you.
Well said. All right, there's Andy McCarthy, celebrates his first win in the Canadian Trotting Classic for trainer Nifty Norman. Owners Mel Hartman, David McDuffie, and Little E LLC.
Yeah, humble guy, Andy McCarthy. Good to see him starting to really click at the top level. And, winning races like this, and paying these kinds of returns are only going to help his cause. We just had to have another look at these returns. How about the pick 5? We talked about it, Mark, and that's the one we really wanted to see. 20-cent return. Get this, 46,000 plus.
That is just wow. I mean, we've seen some wild stuff already tonight, as we talked about, so it's set up to pay real well. Of course, a lot of people probably would have been just all in on Ready for Money there. I'm just taking a quick look back to double check what tonight's pool was. 127,000 was in tonight's pool. So you minus a little bit of takeout there. There aren't very many winning tickets, of course. And if you're one of them, congratulations. That is just one of the biggest returns we've seen for the pick 5 in quite some time. I'll have to go back again. We're going to have to get the record book out here at some point, potentially tonight, to take a look at that.
Well, with Ramona Hill out of the mix, we thought, hey, it could be wide open. And it certainly ended up being that. So what a way to start the night. Again, we want to welcome you wherever you're watching it tonight, around North America, around the world, for that matter, via all the various social media platforms that we're on this evening. It's wonderful to have you with us, and congratulations if you were able to come up with that winner in the opening leg. Canadian Trotting Classic is in the books. Time for us to take another quick break. When we come back, we'll shift gears and we'll focus on our first of a couple of Milton Stakes eliminations next.
Enjoy the thrill of the race anywhere, anytime with HPIBet.com. Join for free and use your smartphone, tablet, or PC to watch and wager when you can't be at the track. Stream live racing from over 450 tracks. Bet with ease from anywhere. It's safe and secure. Get rewards, race alerts, tips, and more. For a limited time, get $100 when you become a member. Plus, 1 month free live race streaming, and your first bet is on us. Go to HPIBet.com to join for free today.
The Breeders' Crown. Harness racing's richest and most prestigious championship series, featuring $6 million, will compete over 2 nights at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. Join us Friday, October 30th and Saturday, October 31st, 2020 for the 37th edition of the Breeders' Crown.
Well, welcome back. Yes, the Breeders' Crown coming up not too far down the road. Coming up very soon here. In fact, 1 week from tonight, the Mohawk Million, first ever edition, Mark. And we had a gold race earlier tonight where we were looking closely to see if Macho Martini would bounce back. He made a break in stride, so we're really not sure, and we're not really sure who's going to ultimately enter, so it makes it really intriguing.
Yeah, it certainly does, and the deadline to enter is noon on Monday. Now, of course, the 9 slot owners, they know when that deadline is, and for some of them, they just don't have a 2-year-old trotter that they could put in this race feeling completely confident that they would win. That's what everyone wants. They want to have the best shot. So for many of them, they're currently working on some deals. Some have already finalized them. We will know the field Monday afternoon, and then Monday evening, the draw will take place as part of Woodbine's regular simulcast coverage on the pregame show. I'll be a part of that. We will draw the field for the Mohawk Million, and then we'll be able to start looking ahead with what will be a unique event. I can say this, just to maybe whet everyone's appetite. I do know of a filly that's going to be in the race, and it's probably not the filly that some are thinking of at the moment. So you can maybe nibble on that for a little bit. All right.
Very, very well played, Mr. McKelvey. And you know, looking ahead to next weekend, it's going to be just another Super Saturday. We've been saying that all month long, part of our September to Remember here on COSA-TV, each and every Saturday night, chock full of Grand Circuit Stakes action. And tonight, more than 1.1 million up for grabs just during our show. We've got the Hambletonian champion, the Oaks champion, and the 2-time defending Milton champ all in action tonight as part of our lineup. So really a lot of fun and still a lot to look forward to here this evening. Gentlemen, it's already off to a great start. Andy McCarthy, as we talked about, and you know, it's just perhaps one of a few that we're going to see from him tonight, because he has drives in all 4 of our stakes features. We didn't really necessarily expect him to win the Canadian Trotting Classic, and here he is. And he's 4th in North America in purse winnings, and he's going to bolster that total tonight. Of course, he's got the great Ramona Hill later on tonight. But time to meet the field now for our first Milton Stakes elimination of the night. Top pacing mares in the sport are here. Sunny D is the number 1. Just missed her on post parade a moment ago. Amazingly looking for her first win of the season. Stonebridge Soul number 2, and there's the great Warrawee Butte number 3.
She captured the Roses Are Red back on Pepsi North America Cup night, so she'll look to continue her success in Canada.
Now there's 4 Kissing in the Sand for Nancy Tactor. What a season she's having on the training side. Daughter of Some Beach Somewhere is a winner of $1.4 million.
Major occasion, Nifty Norman teaming up with Andrew McCarthy once again. Maybe they can make it back to back.
Tony Alanya already with a Metro Pace elimination win earlier in the night with the highly touted A Buck a Bet Hanover. Sends out number 6, Treacherous Rain.
And there is a look at maybe one of the new faces in this division, Lee DeRose, who had been having just a tremendous season up at Rideau Carleton in Ottawa, made the trek here to Woodbine Park for Milton elimination, so she might be the new face in the division, but she certainly appears to be a force to be reckoned with.
All right, and Lee DeRose will be handled by Louis-Philippe Roy. He's already had a pretty good night at the office, and earlier Jamie caught up with him for his thoughts on his lineup this evening.
For the Milton elimination with Lit DeRose coming from post 7. So you've driven this mare a few times, was under Richard Moreau, and now you're back on her again tonight and a little bit this year. What can you tell us about her?
I feel like she got a little stronger. You see that a lot often with like Grand Circuit horses in between 4 and 5. There's still a little step. So the way she raced the last 2 times here, I was really impressed with her. So I think she stepped a little more, and she's going to probably be able to compete with those mares tonight.
As you mentioned last week, she did win and she raced really well in the preferred. How do you think she'll compare to this field?
Well, like if you see, for example, I drove that so much more that I kind of like they're not the same style at all, but I pretty much think they're kind of even horse. And last week they were both together under the wire. So, and the way so much more has been racing against those mare in the Roses Are Red kind of proved that she belongs there.
And moving on to the Elegantimage for race 9, Fortune Starlet. Post 4 you're leaving from. Last week you made a break. What happened there?
We had 2 recalls last week, so in the post parade early on she was fine and I kept her quiet. But once she touched the gate once and had to take her out of the gate for the recall, she just got excited the whole post parade. So I knew going on the gate I wasn't really confident with the way she was gonna behave, but I'm pretty sure tonight she should be all right. Like I said, the first time going on the gate last week, she was really good, and she still ended up trotting a pretty decent mile, coming back 26 last quarter. So I hope she can do good tonight.
Yeah, were you surprised how she did finish up the race last week?
Yeah, especially like I said, after the fact how aggressive and how hot she was during the post parade, I thought she gave all she had kind of, but she still raced good. The only thing she has to stay trotting tonight.
And what would your game plan be for this race?
I have no idea. I'll see you in the gate.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Louis-Philippe Roy and Lee DeRose getting 5-1 respect here, Mark, and that speaks volumes. Here's a mare that had been racing primarily at Rideau Carleton and winning at the top level there, but typically you don't see one that's been racing at that venue show up in a Milton elimination and get this kind of support.
I think it speaks volumes to what you just said is, first of all, that performance last week, and also her trainer, Maxime Vellet, who has brought a few horses here to Woodbine Mohawk Park in recent weeks and had success. They've just been finding the winner's circle, including a real interesting 4-year-old by the name of Onavant, who is actually co-owned by Determination, one of the only few horses I can think of that Determination owns that isn't trained by Luc Blais. That's a 4-year-old now that is 10 for 10 to start his career. Most recently won here just an evening ago in 151-2. So I think when you see the numbers that the trainer has been sending horses out and finding the winner's circle at, and what we saw last week defeating the likes of so much more, Treacherous Rain and others that are racing here tonight. You just can't overlook Lita Rose. But again, Warwick Butte is here in the mix, and she is just such a proven and award winner who, again, we talked a little bit earlier with our poll question about Caviar Alley and the fact it's been a bit of a down year for her. Well, I'd say Warwick Butte, up until the Roses Are Red, her 4-year-old campaign had not gone as expected, but she got that big win. They then put her in against the boys again. Her last start was against the boys, Greg, and I cannot remember the last time a pacing mare, let alone a 4-year-old pacing mare, has taken on the boys 3 times, but that has been the case with Warwick Butte this season.
Yeah, she raced in the Send It In Invitational at Scioto Downs. Shout out to Gabe Pruitt and the gang there. What a season they had at Scioto. What a job Gabe and company did down there promoting the product. And, you know, of course, he, of course, is the man behind the Send It In Army that you see on Twitter and other social media avenues, and now have a race named in their honor, a $100,000 contest. She was 5th there. She'll look to rebound here tonight from post 3. Excellent field of 7 top older pacing mares in the first Milton elimination. Here's Kenny with the description.
Where she wasn't quite as fortunate in the Send It In. Burke and Jingra teaming up with that speedball daughter of Sweet Lou, a 12th-time winner last year. She's 2 for 7 to kick off her 4-year-old campaign, and looking for more. Even money on 3. Warwick Butte as the first of our Milton Stake elimination field swings into the stretch. Group of 7 ready to rock. The Roffin pacing. Warwick Butte is showing speed in the center. Coming out with her, Stonebridge Soul. Pushing from the rail is Sunny D. And Kissin' in the stand was stacked up 4 deep into that turn. Backed off 5th now goes Major Occasion. Treacherous Rain and Lita Rose are the back markers into the first turn. Sunny D has got the rail, and pedal to the metal she went to grab that early lead. Though parked out driving comes the favorite Warwick Butte, and Henry releases Jingra through an opening quarter of 26 and 3. Warwick Butte has muscled her way to the front. She's on top by 2 over Sunny D. 2.5 back to Stonebridge Soul from 3rd. Kissin' in the Sand is 4th. 5th to the rail tracks Major Occasion, then Treacherous Rain, and 2 to Lita Rose on the way to the midway point. Warwick Butte up front, the lead a length and a half. It's Sunny D stalking 2nd, Stonebridge Soul 3rd, Kissin' in the Sand, a pumped up 4th, 5th inside. That's Major Occasion, then Treacherous Rain and Lita Rose, 54 and 4, solid first half speed. Second panel 28 1/5, and it's Warwick Butte on that lead going into the final turn. Sunny D is right there, head to helmet 2nd. Stonebridge Soul 3rd, popped out first up. Major Occasion 4th, giving cover to Treacherous Rain. Shuffled back is Kissin' in the Sand, and the trailer remains Lita Rose. They're on their way to 3/4. Warwick Butte finding another gear as she's got 2 again on Sunny D. 3/4 in 1:22 and 2 coming into the stretch. Warwick Butte trying to give them the slip. She's got it by 2.5. Sunny D back into 2nd. In at the rail 3rd is Stonebridge Soul. Down the center, Kissin' in the Sand. Shakes loose late now. Here's Treacherous Rain. Here's Lita Rose onto the scene. Way out wide. Still there. It's Warwick Butte trying to hold on for the final 16th. She is sleepwalking late and picking her off right on the money. It was Kissin' in the Sand. Jameson and Kissin' in the Sand in 1:49 and 2 to win it.
Another favorite going down to defeat, and another one that looked like she was home free. So it's been a kind of a tough night so far for Yannick Gingras. I'm sure he felt pretty good at about the midway point of the home stretch, but you could tell she was starting to labor late. And Kissin' in the Sand. I mean, this is a world champion mare in her own right, and nice steer from Jody Jameson to get it done.
It was, and we heard Jody's pre-race comments with Jamie, and just talking about what he thought that this mare could bring to the table, where maybe her big effort would come a week from now. The fact that she'd been off since August 8th, but she was ready to rock here tonight, and she does pick off Warwick Butte at the line. Let's just take a look at Warwick Butte. You just see the line, the strides start to shorten there. She just really hits a wall, which was surprising because I thought with an 1/8 of a mile to go, she was just on cruise control and going to coast to another victory here at Mohawk Park. Instead, it's a wild finish once again, and this time Kissin' in the Sand, who 1 for 5 on the year. Talking about a mare that you know that she's got much more to offer. She finds it here tonight.
And a dream season for conditioner Nancy Tactor continuing. Marvin Katz from Toronto co-owns with Hatfield Stables of Columbus, Ohio. Kissin' in the Sand, a Some Beach Somewhere daughter who had been scratched sick from the Roses Are Red final here on August 29th, but came back with that great maintenance qualifier at Lexington, a winner in 51 on that occasion, kicked home in 25 and 4, so showed that she was ready to get back into racing action tonight. And Jamieson, really the perfect kind of trip, Mark, able to keep her covered up most of the way and lots of pop on the end of the mile.
Yeah, there certainly was. You see the way she just storms through the line, and you'd have to think she's going to be poised to be just as sharp, if not even better, next week, as she'll get into a bit of a regular rotation now. A great performance there from Kissing in the Sand. Career win 21 now for that Nancy Tactor trainee, and she takes the first of 2 Milton Stakes eliminations, and of course by winning the elimination, hey, they're guaranteed to have a real good starting spot next week, as the Connections will be able to pick their post for the final.
And maybe post 4 again?
Yeah.
What do you think? Hey, it worked beautifully tonight. We'll see. Time will tell. There's a look at the winning Connections, and back enjoying this victory. And again, one of the benefits of that will be the insurance of a good post position for next week's final. Treacherous Rain closing up well, and Lita Rose, we heard from Louis-Philippe Roy pre-race, and I thought she raced well. And next week you have to think there'll be more early tussling, and watch for her late kick, I think, at the end of the mile next week.
Yeah, she's really going to get charted with a real sharp-looking final quarter here, and that was exactly the case, because she was pacing home very strong, coming from the back to qualify for the final, crossing the line 4th. We've got the top 4 finishers. We take a look at the prices. Of course, the top 5 is what will move on to the final, so we'll see who was officially 5th. But Kissing in the Sand, an $8 winner. It's a $20 exacta if you have Kissing in the Sand over top of Warwee Butte. So the price is not necessarily as big this time, but again, a little bit of an upset there as the favorite goes down in defeat.
Alrighty, Jody Jamieson standing by in the winner's circle. Chad Rosema is going to get some winning words from him next.
First Milton elimination in the books. Jody Jamieson picks up the drive on Kissing in the Sand. Proves to be a winning one, a 149 and 2. Jody, this is a mare that hasn't raced since early August. We know she had the qualifier, but was it just kind of let her do her thing and see if she's got something to offer in the stretch?
I don't know. I think that was probably about the worst trip she's had as far as, putting in a position to win, and it just worked out. UB just had an off night, and Kissing in the Sand, was inside for most of the way, and she's supposed to go a pretty big trip when she gets loose from that spot, and she did. So I was real happy about that.
And now going forward next week, safe to say you probably expect her to be even better.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. Nancy thought she needed to start, and this would be the one, obviously, and we got the win and get to pick our post, so we'll see what happens.
What about Play Tricks on Me? Good runner-up finish in the Canadian Trotting Classic. Maybe give us a comment on his effort.
Yeah, I mean, he was awesome to come first up like that and be around at the wire to talk about it. I was really happy with him. He was getting a little loose down the stretch, but I mean, he was digging right to the wire.
Well, you're going to have some long shots later on. It's been a night of long shots. Would you prefer to be on the long shot and kind of pressure off, or?
No, actually, I'd prefer to be on the 1-5 shot every race if I could.
Yeah, all right. Well, good luck, because you've got still more to come, but maybe get a price in there or two.
Thanks a lot, Chad.
All right, Jody Jamieson delivers here with Kissing in the Sand in the first Milton Limb. 149 and 2 off the bench.
There's another quick look at the prices. Kissing in the Sand with a mild upset, 8-10. Jody Jamieson with a win under his belt. He'll look for more, and we've got plenty more coming up next. Time for another quick break. You're watching COSA-TV. We want to recognize all of the wonderful caretakers in the sport, Mark, and Standardbred Canada started this back about 3 years ago now, and it's something that's celebrated all across the country.
Yeah, it is. Every racetrack putting their own spin on National Caretaker Appreciation Day. That day took place here at Woodbine Mohawk Park last night, and we had a 13 race card, which meant there was a ton of caretakers that were coming in and out of the facility here, and all of them were recognized, everyone getting a nice gift bag, and of course those that saw their horses visit the winner's circle also picked up a little bit something extra. So a great gesture by all those involved, and thanks to all the volunteers to help bring that together, not just here at Woodbine Mohawk Park, but at all the tracks across the nation.
Yes, great job. All of the wonderful caretakers out there, truly the backbone of the sport, and great to be recognized in this way. We have a field of 9 coming up next. We're going to take a break from the stakes action. We've got a good-looking group of hard-hitting overnight types in this event. Non-winners of $16,000 in the last 5, and always a hotshot who was 5-2 and slightly favored in the morning line has been scratched. So really makes this truly wide open. I think no real standout in the field here, Mark, but it's fun to get to watch these horses that we're quite familiar with. These are the ones that we see week in and week out.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. These are the weekly warriors, as I like to call it, of the Woodbine Mohawk Park circuit. So this should be a real good matchup that we will see in this race. Just took a quick glance at the odds board. As you would expect, nobody an overwhelming favorite. Current favorite at 5-2, number 3 Yacht Sealster. Gannon Chingraw driving that one, and you know he'd love to just get another victory just to sort of maybe turn the tide as things have not gone his way in the last couple of races.
Yeah, you have nights like that for sure. Another thing we've been doing here during the month of September on each of our shows, we're asking a guest handicapper to make some wagers with that $100 COSA gift card. Any winnings that we compile over the course of the month are going to the Ontario Standardbred Adoption Society. My colleague Mark, he was first up a couple of weeks ago. We're not going to remind you how he did.
Well, we don't have to talk about that.
Garnet Barnsdale, our good friend, was on last week. Shut out as well. He was close. This time out, Robert Reed Jr., the author of the Horse Player's Journal. He's on the hot seat, and we'll send it over to Robert now for his wagers on tonight's 7th.
Thanks, guys. I've been given the difficult task of handicapping race number 7 tonight, a wide open overnight event, but we're going to try to make some money for the Ontario Standardbred Adoption Society. Let's do this. All right, so let's just get logged in here, and we're going to go to race number 7, and the horse that I love is number 9, Fixed Idea. Got the job done last week, gave me a heart attack at the 3/4 pole, but he should be a nice price tonight moving up, and this field is not out of reach for him. I think he might get a decent trip, even though he's got that outside post. We're also going to put him in trifectas. We're going to put him on top, key him on top of the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. And we're going to do it for 60 cents, so we're going to bet this ticket 3 times each, 20 cents each time. Each one of those bets is going to be $18. And we're going to put him in the second position as well with the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10 with Fixed Idea with the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 10. $6, and again, times 3, $18. So that means if Fixed Idea gets beat by those other horses that we like in the second position, we can still hit the trifecta. We're going to also put him in the 3rd spot, because if he's going to be a price, we don't want to miss out on the trifecta if he does finish somewhere in there. So if he lands in the last spot, we'll get it as well with those horses. And then we're going to make one more wager, and that wager is going to be a superfecta for 20 cents. And this is just looking for a home run score here. We're going to put him over top of HP Napoleon, Torrin Hanover, and then with Sam's a Champ, Yacht Sealster, HP Napoleon, Torrin Hanover, and then we're going to use a bunch of them in the last spot there, and that will give us a price of $6, and we've now spent our whole 100. And as long as Fixed Idea hits the ticket, better if he wins, we'll be able to make a nice score for charity tonight. All right? So that's what we got tonight, guys. Thanks again, and we'll throw it back to you.
Well, thank you very much, Robert. Man, he is serious, Mark. I recall first week you, I think, played just a $50 win place, I believe, on a horse, and Robert's getting a little more intricate with his play. And he's done that before. He was playing that thing like a piano, but yeah, he might be onto something here. He's going for value, first of all, at 19-1. What are your thoughts on Fixed Idea? One thing that's going to help him is the scratch of the one.
Yeah, it will, and Fixed Idea has just been an intriguing horse to watch in recent weeks because there was some time off between starts, back-to-back scratches, so he was in a race where you just didn't know what to expect from him. That was actually a jackpot high-five mandatory race, his first race off the bench. He was one I just didn't know where to slot him there, and then with the way he raced, you thought he'd be better than next week, and ultimately he ended up in a tough enough field there in a Canadian Pacing Derby consolation. Last week he comes through. I think he can get the job done here. I know he's moving up slightly, so outside post, but with that scratch in just another spot, though he'll have to be in the mix early, and we know Phil Houdon can get them in the mix early. There's no doubt about that. So, Robert, best of luck to you. Hopefully we can cash this week. Hopefully you can make up for my failure the first week, and I won't say Garnet's was a failure, but I know we're rooting you on here tonight.
And wherever you're tuning in tonight, let us know what you think. Do you think Robert's onto the right horse here? Do you like someone else? We'd love to hear from you. Leave us a comment. Make sure to use that hashtag as always as well. September to remember _ COSA-TV. And shut out the first 2 weeks with our wagers, but don't worry, COSA has graciously agreed to guarantee at least a $500 donation at the end of the month of September to OSAS, a wonderful cause, and they do fantastic work placing retired standardbreds. So yeah, let's hope we get some money for them here tonight in the upcoming 7th race. Maybe just before we see the post parade here, Mark, talk about a night like tonight. You just never know when you come in. It looks pretty chalky on paper, and sometimes nights like these aren't great betting nights. They're just a night to watch great champions strut their stuff, but we haven't seen that tonight. It's been Jackpot City.
Yeah, that's the thing. I guess sometimes it's amazing to see the trends that develop over a card of racing. And yeah, you might get the one outlier where there is that big upset, but everything else seems to races in, lots of surprises. There's no reason to think that trend is going to get broken here, and then that's just because we've seen this game long enough to know that just are those nights where things don't go according to plan. It makes it a lot of fun, adds for a lot of chatter. I see lots of people commenting on social media here tonight, and this is usually the night where there's more chatter on social media. When the favorites are coming through, everybody can chime in and say, oh, well, the best horse won, and there's not a whole lot of debate and lots to talk about. That's not the case. I'll be interested to see if it does continue. Maybe it's something in the air because it's a little nippy out here tonight. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and we'll watch it closely, especially when you've got Ramona Hill coming up later on the card this evening. You know, it's a fun time of year typically too, where we're starting to think Little Brown Jug. Hard to believe it is Jug Week coming up. Going to be a lot different this year, Mark, though, like it's been everywhere.
Yes, that's the case. No spectators, just those that own horses. The connections will be able to attend the day that their horse is racing. So it is going to be unusual. And I know we had a little bit of a sneak peek, so to speak, when you talk about the Gold Cup in Saucer a month ago, and you watched that race and you saw very few people in attendance. It didn't exactly feel the same. It's still, the race can have plenty of drama. We know that. So I think that's what we'll see on Thursday and all week long. It'll take a little bit of getting used to, but when they go behind the gate, it's the Little Brown Jug after all, and we've already seen some major races go this year, so I guess ultimately we are starting to get used to it.
Yeah, and all the gang down there, they do a wonderful job broadcasting the Little Brown Jug and the lead-up programs to Jug Day on simulcast and other networks. So yeah, we'll look forward to that coverage next week and want to wish everybody the best of luck in Little Brown Jug Week 2020. Time to meet the field for race 7. It's our only overnight race on our 5-pack here this evening. Again, scratched is number 1, always a hot shot, who would likely have been the favorite. So you've got a pretty wide open betting board right now. The number 2 is detained late, so we'll kick off the post parade with Yacht Sealster, son of Shadow Play. He's been in very good form in his last couple. And Yannick Gingras, he'll want to try and get off the schneid here tonight with this guy.
HP Napoleon IV, Filion Bayarja, always a lethal duo there, looking to make a back-to-back wins as he heads up in class tonight.
Louis-Philippe Bois looking for another winner on the card. His mount here is Western Exposure from the Richard Moreau stable.
General Joy, an import that really burst onto the scene earlier this summer, looking to get things turned around after a couple of disappointing starts in a row. J.R. Plant trains, Jody Jamieson drives.
Carmen Osiello having another good meet here this season. James McDonald has a win under his belt from earlier tonight, and they'll team up with number 7 Major Hill.
Winson Ricky from the Murray Breather barn scratched sick last time out, so not sure what to expect here tonight. Trevor Henry does the driving as per usual.
The horse that Robert Reed Jr. has his hopes pinned on, number 9 Fixed Idea, coming off a win last time for the combination of trainer Todd Clements and driver Phil Hudon.
There's a look at Torin Hanover, starts from the second tier. Another one from the Ben Bayard-Jean barn. Chris Christoforou drives, has been racing at higher levels as of late, so he's certainly capable in a spot like this.
And better late than never, last one on Post Parade is number 2, Sam's a Champ. And this guy was a winner 4 back. 3rd most recently. He's had the trailing post 10 in each of the last couple. And he'll get his nose on the starting gate tonight, looking for his 3rd win of the season. That is your field. And as far as the betting board concerned, HP Napoleon is the favorite right now. Horse that dropped to a winning level last time out, facing non-winners of 8,000 in the last 5. And that classification was much more to this guy's liking. He dominated the field there. Looks ready to move back up the class ladder.
Yeah, he certainly does, and that's one that no surprise he's going to take that support. But he's not one that is just going to get bet right down. So if you can live with 5-2, you'll take that right now. As you look, it's a pretty competitive board all around. I'm just taking a look right now at the early pick 4 will pays. Of course, the early pick 4 wraps up nightly on race number 7. We've seen some big prices all along, and right now that pick 4 favorite is number 4 HP Napoleon, but a 20-cent ticket connecting on this early pick 4. If HP Napoleon comes through, it's returning $1,300, and right across the board, the rest of the payouts are very even, kind of ranging anywhere from about $4,000 to $8,000. So those that are alive are looking at a pretty nice return.
Absolutely, well done if you're still going in that wager. Absolutely, well done if you're still going. There's Torin Hanover, the number 10 in the field, at odds of 7-1, Chris Christoforou. Good time to remind folks again, if you don't watch Woodbine Mohawk Park on a regular basis, post 10 is now a trailing spot, and it really does change the complexion of these races.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people would wonder why that decision was made and how maybe that does change the race. Of course, those will always make the argument they want their horses to have the nose on the gate, but certainly in that second tier, it does make those to the outside of the gate have to change up their strategy a little bit, because moving over and crossing over off the wings, there's already going to be some bodies in the way there, and it really changes the strategy a bit, especially for that horse in the second tier. If the driver's got one that he really needs to get forwardly placed, well, he has the flexibility to follow whoever he wants behind the gate, so you got to maybe look for that inside speed, one that would stand out.
To me, here's the telltale on whether it has an impact or whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. If you're playing say a multi-leg wager, a lot of times a horse out of the 10 hole, unless they looked exceptional, would almost be a scratch off for you. Now from the trailing tier, hard to leave a horse like that out of the ticket.
It is the case. You look at the number 9 to see where that winning percentage is at. Hasn't been affected too much ultimately with the change. So I think it definitely spreads the money out quite a bit on the board. As you can see right now, we've got a horse from the 9 hole, Fixed Idea, who is 3-1. That's because he is proven in spots like this. He is one that is capable, but at the end of the day, he's 3-1 from the outside. I guess he is starting from post 8 with the scratch, but he's on the far outside. He's 3-1, and then the 10 in the second tier is 6-1. So it does spread the money out a little bit.
Doug McNair there, and the number 2, Sam's a Champ. I would certainly give this guy consideration in this spot. The last time he raced at the level was 2 back. He finished 7th there, and tried to make a move in the middle half, and just wasn't to his liking. But if you throw that line out, he's been very competitive at just a notch lower. He gives you that impression that he could step up and compete here with the right kind of trip scenario, and you'd have to think with his nose on the gate from an inside spot, he could get that following type trip here.
Yeah, that would be exactly what I was thinking. I think he's got a real big shot. There's a look at General Joy, who when we had a good look at them coming out of the paddock for the post parade, he was already a bit of a handful and then had to go back to the paddock here for an equipment adjustment. And right now, as they bring him towards the track, he doesn't exactly want to head right out onto the track. He tries to make a bit of a right turn. There's a good look as he gets some assistance from outrider Joanne Colville. So we'll see what that means for General Joy. Doesn't always mean a bad thing, but he is 20-1 on the board. He would be a surprise based off his last 2 outings, which just weren't the same horse that we saw when he first had that chance to debut here locally. Of course, he was racing at a lower level, and he was able to slide into some, nice spots when you first do debut. Some of those imports really get a good opportunity to show their stuff at lower levels.
And it's been interesting to watch the ups and downs of the tote board in this contest. The number 9 Fixed Idea, we've kept our eye on him. That's Robert Reed's key horse. He's our guest handicapper tonight. Was up as high as odds of 19-1 at one point, but taking the late tote support right now, and he's at 7-2. Basically, to recap Robert's wagers tonight, if he hits the top 3, he should have a very good chance of cashing. And Phil Hudon is the man tasked with trying to make that happen as he goes for a 2nd consecutive win, although he is moving up the class ladder slightly here tonight for this assignment. Good looking field of 9 hard hitters moving in behind the starting gate for race number 7, sandwiched right in the middle of our 5 race coverage here this evening. So a break from the stakes action. Overnight Pacers assembling for race number 7. It's our guest handicapping event of the night, focused again on number 9, Fixed Idea. Starting gate underway. Once again, Ken Middleton will have the race call next.
Seventh race field lining up on the gate now. We wrap up tonight's early pick 4 here with a field of 9. Public has made 4. HP Napoleon, a 2-1 favorite. He clicked in his latest on the class drop, and we'll see if he can double up tonight, though he's up in class. Field set for a start. Off and pacing. General Joy called into action early by Jameson, going for an easy early lead. 2 lengths in front as they hit the line is General Joy. The favorite HP Napoleon pocket drops, 3rd away Western Exposure, 4th backed off Yacht Sealster, then Sam's a champ into 5th. From the 2nd tier, Torn Hanover 6th, 7th going to backpedal into a spot as Major Hill. Final 2 in the field are the outside 2 Win Sun Ricky and Fixed Idea. Chopping out a quarter of 26 and 4 is the charged up General Joy. General Joy leads the field to the backstretch. HP Napoleon, Fillion's body language says a pocket pop is coming, and HP Napoleon now blasting up at 3/8 to take on General Joy, and it's HP Napoleon on the outside trying to get by. General Joy going to stretch him out if he wants the front though. HP Napoleon working hard to make the lead. General Joy back into 2nd. Half in 54 seconds flat. They race into the final turn. Filion grabs the lead here with HP Napoleon. Back into 2nd, General Joy. Popping out from in 3rd comes Western Exposure. And moving up on the cover, Yacht Sealster. He's a well-placed 4th if good enough. 5th outside to Sam's a champ. Scooting up the rails, 6th, Major Hill. Grabbing 2 lengths in the field now is HP Napoleon. Feeling pressure from Western Exposure, 2nd outside. General Joy starts to let go. 3rd outside to Yacht Sealster on the cover. Sam's a champion with a shot 4 3/4 in 122 and 1. HP Napoleon leads the way by 3 lengths. Back in 2nd, Western Exposure. Then Yacht Sealster outside from in 3rd. Kicked off his cover comes Sam's a champ. Scrambling for racetrack late is Torn Hanover. It's all HP Napoleon. HP Napoleon in a 7th race blowout. He'll take this one by 3 lengths. Coming right back, HP Napoleon as he stops the clock in 149 and 3.
Well, on a night where upsets abound, it's the favorite HP Napoleon really leaving little doubt that he was the best tonight. He's a big strapping son of Big Jim that's really turned into a nice, solid raceway performer. And tonight, A 1:49.3 effort, a sparkling new speed badge. Looked very good in doing it, Mark.
Yeah, certainly did. That is an impressive mile here tonight. You had to see that big second quarter that he went. General Joy was just fired up going up the backside, and I think Jameson's probably trying to let H. Napoleon clear, but it just wasn't that easy. H. Napoleon goes up to the half in 54 and then just keeps on motoring to, as track announcer Ken Middleton called it, a blowout win. That's a 3-length score, a very impressive 3-length score in a career best clocking on a cool night, so Connections will be thrilled with that, and maybe he's one of those horses that's really going to start to heat things up as we head into the autumn months.
And in terms of Robert Reed's selection there, Fixed Idea, individually his performance was fine, and you know, that's the thing, post position can inflate the price, and unfortunately not getting off to a good start and then trying to close into a 1:49.3 mile. Not a good recipe. He raced quite well, and I think he's one to watch next time because if he draws well, I think he can definitely compete at this class level.
Yeah, and the one thing we can say, Robert put a lot of thought into that. I mean, that was a good approach, and I think ultimately there's a horse that in this spot with a different post position, maybe even a different approach. I mean, they take him off. It's hard to say what was going to happen from the outside there. If we know that he's going to be racing from off the pace, obviously, you know, you're going to change your thought, but this is horse racing. You know, there's a reason that it is a gambling sport. You go into it, you're trying to figure out how things are going to work out. Just not the trip that we would have liked to have seen for Fixed Idea. So while he's closing at the end of that mile, like you said, they're all coming home pretty well. It's a big mile, and hey, nice job though by Robert Reed. We took a crack at it, and hey, welcome to the club. That's all I'm gonna say. It's okay. We've got plenty of room for you know what's the saying there? Misery enjoys company.
All right, and the pressure's on. Our good friend Chris Roberts, I believe he is on deck for our final crack at it next Saturday night. So if you're watching, Chris, start studying and get ready as soon as you can. And hey, there's nowhere to go but up. And thankfully, COSA has generously agreed to guarantee a donation. And a big thank you to them again for making this coverage possible all summer long. And also, of course, for supplying those cash cards for this contest and guaranteeing that donation as well. Here are the pari-mutuel details from race 7. HP Napoleon delivers as the slight favorite, pays $5.90 in winning. There's a nice 20-cent pick 4 return, a little over $1,300 for 4 of 4 with a favorite capping it off. But hey, when you get a 60-to-1 winner in the Canadian Trotting Classic, that's what happens. So time to turn the page. We have more stakes action on the way. Our second Milton Stakes elimination of the night is coming up next.
Dark Horse. Download the app today.
Hey guys. Hey Chris. Hey Chris.
Where does he put the horse at?
Are we doing this bike thing again?
And welcome back. We've got 2 more to go on what is a beautiful Saturday night from Woodbine Mohawk Park. A little bit of crispness in the air tonight. Certainly feels like autumn. We've got some nice heaters on here. Beautiful Woodbine Mohawk Park overhead, and our nice new COSA COSA-TV jackets. that we've
First
been donning.
chance I got to wear one of these bad boys, and they do the job.
They are coming in handy tonight, that is for sure. Big thank you to our friends at HoofBid as well for sponsoring our poll question each and every show. You're playing for that urban e-bike. And we wanted to ask you earlier tonight, again, if Caviar Alley could turn her season around. To say it's disappointing would be an understatement. You don't expect a mare of this caliber to only have 6 starts at this point in the year and have 25,000 made. But she is the defending champion, and she's qualified twice very impressively. So here is that question again, and still time to give us your answer. Leave us a comment, and we would love to hear from you. Can she turn it around here? Do you like what you've seen from the qualifiers? And will be an elimination race tonight be enough to get her ready to win in the final next week? I'll pose that question to you, Mark.
I think she is going to find her stride, that stride that we saw last year. Now, last year was fantastic, pretty much from start to finish, but I think she was at her very best towards the end of the year. Of course, when she won the Milton, she also won the Breeders' Crown here last year. She was just electrifying at times last season, especially later on in that stakes calendar. So because of that, I think there are horses like that, especially some of the older performers that just, when you get towards later in the year, they just seem to find their stride a little more, and I expect fully that she will be making her presence felt here in the Milton Stakes as she tries to become a 3-time champion.
Yeah, you know, and another one that you would, you know, if you're looking at the season at the beginning of the year, you would expect to see a horse like her, Chardon here, and she's one of the few in the last couple of seasons that's been able to beat Chardon. Head to head. It hasn't happened very often, but it's quite a feather in her cap. This is one of the probably 2 or 3 best pacing mares on the planet, I think, when she has her A game, and that is the question mark that she'll try and answer tonight. She's closing in on $2 million in career earnings, and a victory tonight would go a long way toward that. So it's real intriguing to watch her bounce back tonight, because they're not going to hand it to her, that is for sure. A couple of local mares, you know, Big Jim, we saw him sire the winner of race 7 tonight. He's well represented here with Potosia, and so much more, so much more. What a story she's been. She was developed in Atlantic, Canada, moves into the Don Beatson stable, runs a small stable down around the London Way, and she has really proven to be one of the top mares in Canada.
Yeah, she has. It has just been such a rise to prominence for her over the last 12 months. You think back a year ago, she was winning the OSS Grassroots final, and then before the winter was complete, she beat the boys at one point in the preferred. She made it to the top class here. She beat the boys, and then coming out of the COVID break, she was just fantastic. And again, I think it is just incredible to see a mare like that, especially for those of us that watch week in and week out here at Woodbine Mohawk Park, go from a grassrooter one knee season to now being at a Grand Circuit level, one that she was 3rd in the Roses Are Red. I mean, I have to imagine the connections are just tickled to death with what they've gotten from her over the last year, and I think there's a lot rooting for her. I think she's one of those horses you could categorize as a fan favorite.
And while we have a moment here, we'll maybe get the guys in the truck, if they can, to queue up some video that we took of Tall Drink Hanover. Our camera crews earlier this week were able to head over to where the Tony Alanya horses are stabled here in Ontario. Got some footage of her. She has certainly been a top pacing mare for the Alanya barn, but another that's had a little bit of a disappointing campaign to this stage.
Yeah, I guess you could say that about her 4-year-old season, and that is the case for some of these 4-year-olds. It takes time to really become one of the top performers once you do join the aged ranks. But for Tall Drink Hanover, we've had the pleasure of watching her here at Woodbine Mohawk Park over recent years. You go back to when she was a 2-year-old. She won the She's a Great Lady. Then a season ago, she put up a real good performance in the Breeders' Crown final, finishing 2nd to Warwick Butte. And last year, banking over $500,000. This is one talented pacing mare that Alanya and Connections have had a lot of fun with. And I just think that she's one you're not going to write off, because at any point for some of these 4-year-olds, it could just click for them and they could really find that stride and really get back to that confidence that they had at 2 and 3.
Yeah, that's a great point, and you just don't know. Some can make the adjustment right away and acclimate and compete with the top older mares. Others, it takes them maybe a half season, full season, and it really can be just almost like a light switch going off. when it does happen. So yeah, we'll watch her closely. I have a feeling one of these times she's going to start to signal that she's getting the hang of playing with the big girls again, and will be there. We saw an Alanya pupil earlier tonight race very well. Good runner-up finish in the first elimination, and her name, Treacherous Rain.
Yeah, and that's been quite the 1-2 punch, really, when you look at it, how good they were last year at 3. They didn't have to face each other all the time. They had nice campaigns that were probably obviously were mapped out on purpose to avoid each other at certain times. Of course, there were some dances that they were going to have to go to together, but Treacherous Rains had some good success here at 4, a little more than Tall Drink Hanover has had at this point. But I'd be interested to know, if you ever got somebody off the record, which one do they think is better if you asked different ones in the barn, and I'm sure everybody would have their favorites. They both have had great careers to this point. For me, Tall Drink Hanover, though, just 6 starts. So I think there is a bit of an approach here. They're not trying to race her too much. And one other thing that stands out, Greg, she didn't race in the Roses Are Red. That race was originally scheduled for June. Of course, it got rescheduled because of racing being shut down. But I think there was a reason she wasn't eligible to the Roses Are Red. I don't think they wanted to throw her in an event like that early on in her 4-year-old campaign. So I think there's a lot of strategy behind the scheduling that we've seen for Tall Drink Hanover so far.
And let's talk about another face that we haven't seen too much of here in Canada, but when we have, she's done well. Her name is Trillians Hanover. She's another daughter of Some Beach Somewhere. Tom Fanning trains her. Just 1 for 8 this year. Certainly better than that record would indicate at first glance. She has almost $100,000 made, and last year close to $200,000 in a very solid 3-year-old campaign. One thing I notice about her when you look up and down the page, consistent.
Yes.
Pacing in the 49 range each and every time, no matter what level of competition, usually kicking home 26, 27 seconds every week. And another that had a nice maintenance qualifier in preparation.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We saw Kissing in the Sand deliver off of a qualifier and some time off for Trillians Hanover. She last raced in that Roses Are Red final. She finished second. It was a good performance, and I shouldn't be surprised because over recent years, whenever Tom Fanning sends a horse up here, he doesn't send them up racing them over their head. He knows that they belong. He knows that they'll be competitive, and that's the case that we got with Trillians Hanover. She was up here last year for the Fan Hanover at 3, so she doesn't have too much experience over this Woodbine Mohawk Park Oval, but overall, anytime that she's shown up, she has certainly let everyone know that she is here.
There's a look at Caviar Alley, the first one out on Post Parade. Andy McCarthy has already had a big night here. He's looking ahead, of course, to Ramona Hill in the Elegant Image in race number 9. But first order of business will be Caviar Alley here in the Milton Elimination. And I'm sure no one more anxious to see her regain her form than Andrew McCarthy. Brent Pelling, the trainer, an illustrious career for him, and he'll do right by this mare, and I'm sure she is ready to go here after not 1 but 2 really strong qualifying efforts. So McCarthy looks to continue his Mohawk mastery tonight, and she's 2-1. So the fact that she struggled this year and the fact that she hasn't raced in quite some time only gets you 2-1. It tells you what kind of resume she has.
Exactly. That talks about reputation right there. Boadicea number 2. She was last year's OSS Super Final champion, and it's been some tough times as of late, but she was one that they had high hopes for this year. Maybe this will be the time for her to turn it around.
Trillians Hanover. She was the runner-up in the Roses Are Red on August 29th behind Warrawee Butte. Sylvain Filion drove on that occasion. Bob McClure gets the assignment tonight.
So much more. 20 starts this year. That is by far the most in this field. Double of the next closest rival, Philly Hanover, who you see now with 10.
There's Philly Hanover. Chris Christoforou driving. Rob Fellows is the trainer. She's a Captain Treacherous mare looking for her first win in 10 this year.
And there's a look at Tall Drink Hanover from the Alanya barn. Yannick Gingras will do the driving for what will be the first time that he's ever sat behind this mare since he baby raced her. So, been a long time, though, since these two have reunited.
All right, there's a look at Caviar Alley, and McCarthy makes a good pre-race appearance here. So much more. One of the local hopefuls in the field. She has been a model of consistency since moving to Ontario last season for New Connections. James McDonald has been the primary driver, and earlier tonight, Jamie caught up with him for his thoughts.
Race 8 coming up next, Milton Elimination. James McDonald joins us now, driving So Much More, leaving from post 4. Can you tell us just something about this mare out there?
Yeah, she's just a little killer. Like, you give her a good trip and she comes off a helmet like a rocket, or she can tough it first up, she can race in the front. Like, she's just an absolute dream to drive, and you know, really happy for the connections that she's made it this far, and hopefully we can get more next week.
And she's been racing really consistency lately. What's been the difference from about midsummer till now?
She just good trips, you know. Sometimes I put her in bad spots and then she didn't look as good, but she's never really raced a bad race. She comes to do her job every week, and I can pretty well guarantee you she'll give a good effort again tonight.
And it's a 6-horse field filled with competition. How do you compare her to the others?
I think she's as good as anything. I mean, Caviar Alley's obviously the class of the field. They don't just give you 1.9 million. So, you know, I think mine's right on top of her game, and I guess we'll see how she stacks up tonight.
And is there anything special to her coming from PEI and obviously the owner-trainer combination with that family aspect on their side?
Yeah, I mean, it's just great to see. I think everyone in the paddock and anyone that knows Don and Ken, you know, they root for her, and I know all of PEI watched her and cheers her on. She's such a great story. So, you know, I expect big things from her, and hopefully I can do my job. I know she's going to do hers. So, yeah, hopefully make it to next week and big things next week.
Thanks for joining us, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
So definitely the PEI connection there. James, of course, is a native of there. And I'm sure there's an entourage that watches her regularly. You know, when a horse gets developed down there, they like to follow and keep tabs on them. And she's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, she has, and I talked about last year. Just you know, that's a filly last year that wins the OSS Grassroots Final, and I'm sure at that moment the connections, those that were following her since she had first debuted, they're thrilled to see that. I mean, that is a great accomplishment to win the Grassroots Championship. So to see where she has gotten to in such a short amount of time, I think there's probably many that I don't want to say that they're completely stunned, but they have to just be enjoying what has been a dream season to this point. And I think she is certainly capable of coming through here tonight. She's 3-1 at the moment, so she's the second choice. And I think her performance in the Roses Are Red, where she never saw the pylons and yet she still finished third, she didn't give an inch there. Again, that just really solidified her as one that can go with the top mares in the sport.
And, you know, the older pacing mare ranks, they've been so much fun to watch. And we're blessed here on this particular circuit. We have some of the premier events like the Roses Are Red and the Milton. And, you know, I go back to the days of Eternal Camnation and Bunny Lake and you know, mares like Burning Point, and then in recent years Androvet and so on and so forth. And here we are again, and we've got just so many talented mares that set foot on this racetrack over the years, and this year no exception. World champions galore. They're maybe not coming in right at the top of their game, so from purely a fan's perspective and from a wagering perspective, it makes it a little more intriguing, not only tonight but looking ahead to the final in a week's time.
It does. This is a real classy group of mares that is competing in the Milton Eliminations. And just to touch on your point, I look back to midsummer, we were watching some just fantastic mares preferreds on a weekly basis here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. There's mares that aren't competing in the Milton Eliminations that I think if they're in here, they're going to hold their own. We just have such a deep group of older pacing mares here that it makes it fun to watch week in and week out. At times I consider that probably the most enjoyable race each week. So it's nice to see when they get their chance to take on some of the big mares from the U.S. And hey, I think despite the fact this is just a field of 6, this should be a real good one.
There's Bob McClure and Trillions Hanover again. She was the runner-up here in the Roses Are Red. McClure has had kind of like Yannick, you know, things haven't gone his way tonight. He's had many nights where they have, and he'll look to right the ship a little bit here with this mare as the field starts to assemble for tonight's 8th, our second Milton elimination. Caviar Alley, despite the long absence from the racetrack, is the favorite as they move over to the top of the stretch. Ken Middleton has the race call next.
It's early August, couple of qualifying tighteners under her belt as she makes her way north of the border to take on 5 other foes in the second Milton elimination. As the gate swings into the stretch, it's post time for race 8. Here's the 8th race, second Milton elimination. Picking up speed, set for a start. And they're off. Way out wide, Tall Drink Hanover with explosive speed off the car. She'll go for and grab that early lead for Gingras. Boadicea came away in the pocket spot from second. Dropped in third goes Trillions Hanover. Caviar Alley fourth away. Fifth inside to So Much More. And the early trailer in the backfield from in sixth is Philly Hanover. Here they come to the quarter, and it's Tall Drink Hanover up front. Tall Drink Hanover as Gingras tapping the brakes after that 26-4 opening quarter. Boadicea is sitting at the rail from in second. Fillion's thinking about a move though, and Boadicea, she was half thinking about tipping, but dropped right back to pocket. Trillions Hanover third. Caviar Alley continuing fourth. Fifth inside to So Much More, and trailing is Philly Hanover. Now some action as Trillions Hanover is on the move out of third. Gingras really wants some cover here for Tall Drink Hanover, and on the outside, McClure gives him his wish. As Trillions Hanover goes by in 55-4, a second panel in 29 flat, they race to the far turn. Trillions Hanover leads at a length. Tall Drink Hanover second. Back into third is Boadicea. And now she'll come to the outside first up from third. Back there, fourth inside to Caviar Alley. On cover fifth is So Much More. And sixth inside to Philly Hanover. Racing up to 3/4. On that lead, Trillions Hanover. Second at the inside to Tall Drink Hanover. Boadicea really struggled on that turn out there from in third. 3 wide to try and zip around her comes Caviar Alley. 3/4 in 1:23-1, and they're into the stretch. And it's Trillions Hanover still there. Here down the center comes Caviar Alley setting sail late. Far outside comes So Much More, kicked off cover. And she's steamrolling from McDonald now. So Much More on the outside coming after Trillions Hanover. And it's So Much More in Trillions Hanover. Trillions Hanover holding on in 1:50-3.
Dead tight at the wire in our second Milton elimination. Trillions Hanover on the inside, digging in gamely, needs that wire. So Much More charging. Caviar Alley in between, but Trillions Hanover finds the wire in time for Bob McClure and mark the winning move. That quarter pole move to the front of the backstretch.
Ends up being the winning move, which, and you heard track announcer Ken Middleton talk about it, we thought Boadicea was just going to circle from second to first there, moving in the second quarter. Filion thought about it, ultimately doesn't, and Gingras had to hit the brakes. He's waiting for somebody to make that second quarter rush to the top, and that's what Trillions Hanover does. And again, sensible enough fractions, they're all going to sprint on home. So Much More had a little bit of work to do as her and Caviar Alley really didn't make up the ground you would have expected on the last turn because Boadicea struggled first up. They're both coming here, but Trillions Hanover gets the job done.
So you've got a few different things to look at there. Trillions Hanover, by holding on, that's huge. They get to pick their post position now for the final. So Much More, really good closing effort. I think you'd have to think Caviar Alley would need that start. She'll be better next week for the final. And even fourth place finisher Philly Hanover had to do a lot of stick handling and finished right up with the top 3.
Yeah, she looked like she was loaded. Chris Christopher was kind of stuck behind a wall for a good chunk of that stretch before he finally is able to shake loose. Boadicea she ends up finishing 5th, and again, it wasn't a great performance from her. She's just hasn't been herself, and she's a mare last year at 3. Even at 2, she just seemed that when you put her on the front, just keep chipping away at her. She had that heart. She just kept digging and fighting. And as she comes first up, doesn't really advance, but ends up making the final because Tall Drink Hanover just wasn't herself and ends up backing up there in the lanes. So Tall Drink Hanover, the lone horse from that elimination that will not advance to next week's $215,000 final.
Here's a good look at Trillions Hanover, and she is a nice looking daughter of Some Beach Somewhere from the Western Ideal mare 2-2 Hanover. A model of consistency, always seems to give you the same race week in and week out, and really just depends on how the trip unfolds for her. She's always going to be in the hunt. That's her second win of the season, and her trips to Canada this year have been productive ones so far, and she'll be one of the horses to reckon with next week as we look ahead to the finals. So Bob McClure, we talked about his night so far. A little bit of a struggle for him in terms of the results department this evening, but turns things around there with a nice win with Trillions Hanover. Chad is standing by with the winning driver. We'll hear from him in just a moment.
All right, the Milton field is now settled for next week, and we know the other limb winner who will pick her post, Trillions Hanover. Bob McClure picked up a live catch drive here. Maybe just talk about her effort and that move you made going to the third quarter.
Yeah, well, it seemed like Yannick was looking for some cover. We weren't going much up the backside. Watching my fillies races, it looks like she's very deep. She's always pacing hard at the wire. So I fear put her into that situation where she can, you know, give her a chance to get tired and fight through it. And she's tough. She got big lungs and a big heart, and she likes to race.
Yeah, you talk about tough. I think that's a great description. Just maybe talk about how tough she was digging in deep stretch.
Yeah, because she had two very nice mares coming at her, you know, so much more. You never want her too close to you, and obviously, you don't say much for Caviar Alley. So, no, I was really impressed with her. She raced great.
When you look through the, the two fields, we know short eliminations, but we'll have a full field next week. Wide open with O'Sharton here.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that first division had three amazing mares across the track. This one, the exact same. So, should be a fun final next week.
You know, you're setting yourself up for next weekend with getting some live drives. I want to talk about Lawless Shadow and his effort when he was runner-up in his Metro elimination. What do you think of him tonight?
He was really good. Obviously, his gate speed's no secret. That's going to help, given he can't pick his post. So, that's a big advantage. He come 26 flat. Hopefully next week there's somebody to beat up a buck a bet a little harder so that we can take a big run at him.
All right, all the best. Nice job here.
Thank you.
All right, there's Bob McClure gets Trillions Hanover to the winner's circle in the second Milton elimination, 150-3 for the four-year-old mare.
There's a look at the prices from that eighth race. Trillions Hanover, mild upsetter, returning $10. So much more. Caviar Alley, Filly Hanover, and Boadicea rounding out the top five. I concur with Bob Mark in that this has the complexion to be a fantastic final.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're looking at what Bob talked about, just great finishes in both eliminations, not much separating these mares. Now it'll be interesting to see how the draw shakes out, but even then, I'm not concerned about the draw really setting it up that one or two would stand out among just a cut above the rest. That won't be the case here. This should be a very competitive, a very even Milton Stakes final. Looking forward to it next week, which will be part of another rich card here at Woodbine Mohawk Park.
4 races in the books this evening, 1 more left to go. What do we have in store? Well, just this year's Hambletonian champion coming up next in this year's edition of the Elegantimage right here on COSA-TV.
COSA, the Central Ontario Standardbred Association, proudly serving Ontario horse people with integrity and accountability. Collaborative, supportive, helping to ensure a vibrant harness racing industry. Lifetime membership is free and there are many benefits. Become a new member today. COSA, representing the interests of horse people racing at Ontario racetracks. To find out more, visit COSAonline.com.
The Breeders' Crown, harness racing's richest and most prestigious championship series, featuring $6 million, will compete over 2 nights at Harrah's Hoosier Park Racing and Casino. Join us Friday, October 30th and Saturday, October 31st, 2020 for the 37th edition of the Breeders' Crown.
Welcome back to beautiful Woodbine Mohawk Park in Campbellville, Ontario. You're watching COSA-TV coverage of tonight's race program, which does feature the Canadian Trotting Classic already in the books. Big upset there. We'll see if the same is in store here in the Elegantimage final, which has a couple of headliners. We've been talking a lot about Ramona Hill, the Hambletonian champ, but we've got the Oaks champion in the field as well.
And as you see right there, second time in the last 3 years that it'll be a showdown in the Elegantimage. It was just a few years back that Atlanta and Manchego clashed in Fatosa for trainer-driver Tron Smedshammer pulled off the upset in what was a great finish there. So here tonight, we've got Ramona Hill and Sorella. You got the Hambo and the Oaks champion, the two fabulous fillies, but can somebody else surprise them? Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah, and if somebody does upend them, it is going to be a huge upset, but we've already seen it earlier tonight in the Canadian Trotting Classic. One guy that's certainly hoping for an upset is trainer Andrew Harris, who sends out number 5, Tricky Sister. And earlier this week, we caught up with Andrew to talk a little bit about this daughter of Trixton.
Hey guys, this is Andrew Harris here. I'm lucky enough to train Tricky Sister in the Elegantimage tonight, and hopefully we have a little bit of luck. When I got her as a 2-year-old, I thought she was a project. She came in, she was skinny, and she just wasn't, she wasn't anything that you were going to write home about. And then I took her to freehold for some races and was hoping that maybe, she'd get her confidence going, and she did. She won a couple of races over there, and her confidence got better. And then I took her to Meadowlands shortly after a couple of wins at freehold, and she ends up going 55 as a 2-year-old, and I was like, you know what? There's something here, and then raced her a few more times, and she showed enough potential that, we knew we were going to stake her up a little bit as a 3-year-old, but glad we did, and she's turned around big time. And any other year, if she comes into any other year, she has probably a lot more money in the bank. But she comes into a year where you got Sorella, Hypnotic AM, and then of course Ramona Hill. So around the barn, she's actually a little bit sassy. She'll pin her ears and run at you a little bit when she's in the stall. But once you get her outside of the stall, she's awesome. She does everything you want her to do. She doesn't do anything wrong. But she's got that little bit of an attitude that lets you know that she's a little alpha male. And she goes through on the track, and she does everything perfect on the track. She never makes a mistake, never makes a break or nothing like that, and has a good attitude on the track and always wants to pass horses. I think Ramona Hill's, an absolute beast and probably one of the best fillies of our lifetime to watch. So I'm not going into this thinking, oh, we got a shot to beat Ramona Hill, but I'm going into this hoping that she can pick up the pieces, and she's so quick in her last quarter that she can get a big piece of this. If she comes flying home and gets a third or fourth, I won't be surprised. It's huge, and I wish I could be there, but I think that to me, it's more exciting to race at Woodbine, which is amazing because, I've left Ontario and I've come to the States, and I get more of a thrill going back home and seeing everybody and racing in those races. So to me, it's everything. And, one day I hope to open up a stable there full time so that I can be there more often because it's home. I love Woodbine and I love everybody that races there. So, eventually one day that's a goal to be there more often. But I'm excited to have a horse racing there that's in those kind of caliber of races and have a little bit of a shot at it.
That's so interesting to hear from Andrew about not only this one, but his love of getting back here and racing in these types of events. And I was surprised. I didn't realize how large his stable had grown. He said he's got something like 70 horses now, and he actually moved a few because he was not unsure what the racing season this fall was going to be like at Yonkers.
Yeah, it's interesting just to hear his candid comments there. I love hearing just the story on the development of especially this filly that we're going to see her Tricky Sister, and the fact that he just wasn't 100% sure of where she did stack up, and then all of a sudden she started to show some flashes of what looked to be some serious ability. And it's the way it goes sometimes, right? For everybody, their hopes and their expectations can be at different levels, and it was really interesting to hear those comments from Andrew Harris, who's had just a heck of a go, wins a ton of races south of the border. And I guess to your point, I was the same as you. I guess I didn't realize how big his barn was, but now that you think about it, you're seeing his starters constantly racing there on the East Coast in the U.S. and having lots of success and posting great numbers, as I mentioned, on different tracks such as Yonkers and the Meadowlands.
And very candid, though, in this race tonight, you know, expecting or hoping to pick up some money, get a good check. Anything else after that would be gravy. So we'll see. She certainly is on the improve and has the ability, I think, to be somewhere on the fringes. You could say that about pretty much all of the fillies in the field. It's a field of 10, which includes the Hambletonian and Hambletonian Oaks champion. And as Mark said, it's the second time in the last 3 years that we've had that scenario. The last time it happened here, there was a mild upset, compliments of Fatosov. I think the difference, though, Mark, is in that year, she was very close to the top two in her form coming in and had really been knocking at the door, and you got the feeling it was going to be a matter of time. I don't know if we see a filly that fits that profile here.
The only one that I could maybe cue in on would be Sister Sledge. You know, the fact that her connections, they took the shot at the Hambletonian as well. They raced her against the boys. So clearly, based on what we saw from her at 2 and then how she came out at the start of the year, you know, they thought that she could be right there. I think a lot of that maybe spoke to how deep this group of fillies was, and for some of these fillies, it made more sense to take on the boys. I mean, maybe it's just not as deep a group. So we got a lot of fabulous fillies that are going to go forward here in this race, but you're right. A few years ago, Fatosov, I think she was just right there with Manchego and Atlanta. It's too bad that she really didn't come back at 4, the same kind of horse that those two did, because how much fun would that be to have had her in the mix as well, with what we saw from Manchego and Atlanta over the last year and a half once they joined the age ranks.
Yeah, at the time, as 3-year-olds, certainly we were calling that one of the best, if not the. It was right up there. There's no question about that. Ramona Hill looks like one of the best filly trotters we've seen in decades, and she is the definitive headliner here tonight in the Elegant Image. We'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with more on the other side. We're 12 minutes away and about 10 minutes away from the post-parade of this year's Elegant Image Final.
Dark Horse. Download the app today.
Enjoy the thrill of the race anywhere, anytime with HPIBet.com. Join for free and use your smartphone, tablet, or PC to watch and wager when you can't be at the track. Stream live racing from over 450 tracks. Bet with ease from anywhere. It's safe and secure. Get rewards, race alerts, tips, and more. For a limited time, get $100 when you become a member. Plus, 1 month free live race streaming, and your first bet is on us. Go to HPIBet.com to join for free today.
And welcome back, getting set for our 5th and final race this evening on COSA-TV. Welcome to all of you tuning in tonight. We'd love to hear from you wherever you're watching on the various platforms. And thank you to Harness Racing Update, of course, the U.S. Trotting Association, for distributing the signal as well on their social media platforms. Of course, our good friends as well at Standardbred Canada, who are streaming on their website this evening. It's great to have you with us tonight. It's been a really entertaining 5-pack so far, and we've got the headliner in terms of the horses themselves coming up here tonight in Ramona Hill, and that's because she won the Hambletonian, of course, earlier this season. Hard to believe, Mark, when you look back, she was 6-1 in her first start of the year in the Reynolds and finished third. That seems like a world ago.
Yeah, it really does, and it's amazing to think that she was 6-1 in her debut start, but that was the case here last year. We saw her win the Breeders' Crown from post position number 10. That's when post 10 was on the gate. It was one of the most impressive performances of the weekend, maybe that we have seen in quite some time from a 2-year-old trotting filly, and here this season she has just been incredible. 5 for 6 overall, 5-race win streak. As you mentioned, Greg, she did drop that season debut. Just go back to her Hambletonian elimination. A 25-4 final quarter. It was something spectacular. It set her up as the horse to beat in the final, and she did not disappoint. Trainer Tony Alagna's had a lot of success in the last several years. He's had stars such as Captain Treacherous. He's had some stars on the trotting side as well, but this filly has just taken him to new heights, of course, getting him his first Hambletonian, and it's just, I'm sure, been an absolute treat to condition.
And she was thoroughly dominant when she surfaced here last week in a division of Simcoe, won by almost 6 lengths in that Grand Circuit contest. And it really looked like a training mile for her. So she's been almost flawless in her career. And again, the big feather in her cap this year was beating the boys in the Hambletonian. So puts her name in the history books right up with many of the great trotting fillies of all time. The likes of Continental Victory come to mind, of course, Atlanta in recent years, and Ramona Hill just a few weeks back at the Meadowlands Racetrack in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Let's take a look back now. We've got a few minutes here while we get ready for the post-parade of the Elegant Image. So let's take you back to Hambo Day and relive it. And you know, there's usually high drama in the Hambletonian final, but there wasn't a lot of it this year for Ramona Hill. She did exactly what was expected of her on the day and delivered a nearly flawless performance.
Exactly, that is the case. You're going to get to check it out here. And for Ramona Hill, I think going into this race, the Connections just had to feel super confident when they took their shot against the boys. And as I talked about, maybe it's not that group that we have seen of absolute killers, but there was enough talent in this race. And here you go. In the early stages, there is going to be a lot of early action that sets up nicely for it. Big fractions in this race, and you see Daniel Dubé with a horse that we've already seen earlier on the card, 352, trying to make that big attack to the top on Amigo Volo. 26-2 opener, 54-3 to the half. So for Ramona Hill, who you get to see her right there in fourth with Andrew McCarthy, she's ready to go on. And this wasn't like she was just coming into a slow second quarter. They were absolutely smoking.
And she a daughter, of course, of the game-changing trotting sire, Muscle Hill. And you can see there, she's inherited her father's beautiful gait and high speed and can carry it such a long way.
Yeah, exactly that. She moves to the top, goes down to 3/4 in 122-2. There on her outside is Ready for Money. Of course, Ready for Money, we saw him earlier tonight. Of course, he didn't make that unfortunate miscue. But to this point, Ready for Money hadn't lost on the season. This was setting up to be the big showdown. The horse that is racing there in third is back of the neck. And what you're going to see in the lane here is what is going to be just a big separation among the top contenders and what was the rest of that field. The top 3 and 4 really break away, but Ramona Hill in the lane, they're just not touching her. Ready for Money's all out, and you see Andrew McCarthy calling on her. She's responding, and she gets it done in what was a mile of 150-1, a Hambletonian record.
And it's amazing. There's Yannick Gingras in the runner-up spot, and it's the race that's eluded him. He's had his chances, and it's really hard to believe when you look at Yannick's career, and especially in the last decade, that he doesn't have a Hambo title under his belt. And a guy like Andrew McCarthy has had only a limited number of opportunities, gets there, but it's just the way it goes, right? A guy like Scott Zeron, of course, won the Hambo in one of his first attempts, and he's now a 2-time winner.
Yeah, exactly that. Some guys, you know, it doesn't say that they're not a good driver, because we know how great a driver Yannick Gingras is. It's just sometimes there's that one race that you just can't get. How about Alex Ovechkin? How many years did he play in the NHL? Couldn't get that Stanley Cup. Right. Everyone said that. Finally, he did it. You know, it's just a matter of time for Yannick. He's always going to get those opportunities. And, you know, if it comes next year, no one's going to be shocked. But it is one of those storylines. I'm sure he gets tired of hearing about it. He got tired of hearing about the NA Cup. We were giving him a hard time. And Tall Dark Stranger came through. So it is, like I said, just a matter of time.
He put that one behind him this year for sure. One gentleman that's looking for a massive upset here is Doug McNair, one of our top local reinsmen. He's got number 8, Warrawee Vicky, for local conditioner Scott McEnany. Coming in, 3-time winner in 6 this year, but a tall order with an outside post. Let's find out more from Doug now, who joined Jamie McDonald earlier tonight.
Doug McNair joins us now before race 9, the Elegantimage, driving Warrawee Vicky, leaving from post 8. You drove her at the end of her season last year. How has she developed for her 3-year-old season?
She's come a long way. You know, she relaxed a lot. Last year she was pretty hot once you got her off the car, but now she seems to come back to you as soon as you want her to. So that makes a big difference. It makes your job a lot easier.
And she's been pretty consistent other than her break 2 starts back, but that didn't seem to affect her last week. What are your thoughts on tonight's race?
Yeah, that was maybe my fault. I had her up in the gate too soon a couple of weeks ago, but tonight, I mean, it's a really tough race. I mean, just hoping to maybe get a decent piece of it. I mean, there's the inside horses, the 1 and the 3, I think they are, and I think they're a step or 2 ahead of the rest of the field. So if we can just get a piece of it, that'd be great.
And how big of a mental game is horse racing, especially for drivers when you're going out there for a stake race?
Yeah, you know, it's all confidence and momentum, stuff like that. So kind of how things are rolling and how your night goes sometimes. But race to race is it's very different. So you just got to turn the page and move on.
Good luck tonight, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, nice to hear from Doug McNair. He'll be driving Warrawee Vicky for owner Brad Grant of Milton. And Brad, of course, co-owner of this filly, the Hambletonian champion, Ramona Hill. She was a winner here a week ago in the Simcoe, her 5th win this season. She has $750,000 earned already and looks to add to that bankroll tonight for trainer Tony Alanya and driver Andrew McCarthy.
The veteran trainer driver Roger Mayotte sends out Princess Party Pants. This is a daughter of Muscle Mash. She's always right there, gives you a great effort, an honest effort every single week. You know that she'll make her presence felt.
Number 3, Sorella, Hambletonian Oaks champion, and she's won her last 2 here at Woodbine Mohawk Park in divisions of the Casual Breeze, and then beat condition types last week easily in 152.
Owner Bill Donovan's had some big wins here at Woodbine Mohawk Park in the past. He'll look for Fortune Starlet to pull the upset. Louis Waugh drives.
We heard earlier from trainer Andrew Harris. He sends out Tricky Sister number 5. Good starting spot for her, with James McDonald in the driver's seat.
Sister Sledge from the Ron Burke barn made over $600,000 last year. She's banked almost $200,000 this year. Sylvan Filion gets the call as the Burke trainee. Could she be the one to upset the top 2?
Number 7 in the field is Trina, and she's a daughter of top OSS stallion Muscle Mass, Dan Klemenczyk, the 30-plus stable, and trainer Blake McIntosh all share in the ownership. And a big drive here for Rob Shepard as Trina looks for her 2nd win of the campaign.
So we just heard from driver Doug McNair, and there you get a look at him as he's in the sulky behind Warrawee Vicky. Really burst onto the scene last year. Owner Brad Grant bought her after her first start from trainer Robbie Robinson from up the Ottawa way. Warrawee Vicky, a winner of over $322,000 life, coming in with confidence and momentum off that Simcoe Stakes score a week ago.
So she sits at odds of 60 to 1. A little bit lower at 50 to 1. The post 9 starter, the outside post now at Mohawk Park, and that belongs to She Rocks Kemp. She's a daughter of Cadabra, Tony O'Sullivan Training. Mel Hartman of Ontario co-owns with David McDuffie and the Pinsky Stables. 1 for 7 this year. Trevor Henry will try and engineer the massive upset tonight.
Also 1 for 7 on the season is the final horse we will meet for this Elegantimage final. That is number 10, Who's Blues. Determination, Blay, and McClure team up here. Who's Blues showed a lot of promise at 2. As I mentioned, 1 for 7 this year. That 1 win, though, did come in a Pennsylvania Sire Stakes contest at Harris, Philadelphia, and she's coming in off a 3rd place effort in the Simcoe. Again, lots of potential here. Maybe tonight she really steps it up.
So good look there at Ramona Hill, and she is the one to try and knock off the perch tonight. As far as the odds board is concerned, Sorella seems like the logical choice to do it if anyone can. And Sorella, in her own right, Mark, has had a fabulous season. She's 6 for 8. And one of her only miscues came 3 back in the Zwag at Vernon Downs, where she beat herself with a break in stride at the start. And, she's close to an undefeated season.
Yeah, she's been fantastic, and she came up here to Woodbine Mohawk Park for the Casual Breeze back at the end of August. That was a dominating score, a track record equaling score, 151-3, won by 9 lengths. And then typically you'd move on to the Simcoe Stakes next. She actually wasn't eligible, but they still wanted to get a start into her before the Elegant Image, so they put her in against older male rivals, pretty much essentially what was that week's preferred trot. It was our top level trot for the week. She took on the likes of Mass Fortune K, Perfettos, there was other in there that we've seen at the top, and she beat them handily. She was just sensational. So I think it speaks volume to the talent that she is, that she went in against older male rivals, and she put the boots to them. I think Sorella here tonight could be set up to take down Ramona Hill. That's where I'm actually leaning. So, I'm not probably going out on a huge limb there by saying that, but what I've seen from her in 2 starts here, she just looks like she is ready to come through with the huge score tonight over her arch rival.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch. We had a look moments ago at Sister Sledge. You talked about it earlier. She, like Ramona Hill, took on the boys in the Hambletonian. She was 4th in her elimination and then had braking issues in the final. But the good news is she's bounced back with a pair of wins in stakes action in Pennsylvania. 5th last time out at Harrah's Philly, but it looked like a kind of a nightmare trip, parked much of the way and forced into a 3-wide move on the last turn.
Yeah, and that was in the Pennsylvania Sire Stakes final, so that didn't go according to plan, but comes right back here now for the Elegant Image. A week off to freshen up. We've seen Burke trainees, when they come up here, have lots of success over the past few weeks. You can go back to Dorsadero Hanover in the Canadian Pacing Derby. We've seen some real nice looking pacing fillies as well. I think Sister Sledge is going to be right there. Again, I'm just not sure she is right at the level, though, of Ramona Hill and Sorella. She was a fantastic 2-year-old, but those two have really kind of broken away from the rest of their division. And, hey, if Sister Sledge finishes 3rd, that's nothing to be ashamed of. That's exactly where the odds board would expect her to finish, and she can continue to add to that impressive bankroll, which by the end of this year, Greg, could be close to $1 million. Maybe she will even surpass that. There's still a lot of money on the line.
Speaking of bankroll, let's put you on the spot a little bit. We have a moment or two before the gate starts to roll. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk how you would handicap the race. So let's give you back that $100 bankroll that we gave you in week 1 for OSAS. That didn't quite work out, but let's say you've got $100 to play here. How would you play the race?
Yeah, it's interesting how you want to tackle this one. I always find it a little tricky when you do have those horses that are real low, 2 to 5 on Ramona Hill, 7 to 2 on Sorella. So would you flip it? Do you throw Sorella on top? I mean, I'm very confident Sorella can get it done. One thing that we've seen in the past is when a horse at the odds of 2 to 5, if they go down in defeat, they're not always a lock to finish second. If they're going to get beat, sometimes they do get beat. So maybe it is taking a bit of a stand and throwing Ramona Hill, towards the bottom of a try ticket and hoping that if you put Sorella on top, maybe get one of those prices in the middle. Spend a little money and fingers crossed that that's what comes through. At the same time, you just flip it. Put the better price on top in Sorella, put Ramona Hill underneath, and then maybe you get one of those bombs in for 3rd and play your tries and your supers like that. I think it's not rocket science probably with a race like this, but at the same time, I can't sit here and say, all right, I'm going to put that 50-50 on Bettor's Wish. Give me that back. Yeah, I'm going to throw that right now on 7, 8, or 9. There's no chance. You just don't have that sort of confidence.
Sure. And in terms of the trip, how would you like to see it go for Sorella? In order to beat Ramona Hill, does she try and seize control and play catch me if you can, or is it the other way? Is she going to be the stalker?
I would think Sorella's going to get out of there real well. You got the spot just to the outside of Ramona Hill. I don't think Ramona Hill with the rail, that's necessarily the handiest of spots for her. What I would like to see, or what I would expect to see from Ramona Hill, is her getting away probably 3rd or 4th, making that 2nd quarter move to the top. She should get respect. For Sorella, though, what'll be interesting to see if somebody else tries to take a shot, hoping to grab that early lead and then try to get the 2-hole ride. So maybe Gingras doesn't get out to the front going into the 1st turn, but maybe he's making that move ahead of Ramona Hill and then getting the pocket trip the rest of the way. That's how I would imagine things are going to shake out here. But hey, somebody could take a big shot and really mix things up. You never know.
Yeah, and it's been a tough night for Gingras, as we mentioned. Probably the only tough night he's had. He's had a great run since moving his base to north of the border here over the last few weeks. But would love to cap off our coverage tonight with a victory here in the Elegant Image, which would be a mild upset, if you will, over Ramona Hill, the Hambo champ, against the Oaks champ, and a great supporting cast in this year's Elegant Image final. Ken Middleton has the race call coming up.
Ramona Hill, fresh off her win in the Simcoe, the Zweig prior to that, the Hambletonian, and the Del Miller prior to that. Andrew McCarthy aboard the Tony Alanya trainee, taking on 9 others. It's post time for race 9. Here they come. And they're off in the Elegant Image. And a sharp beginning for Trina from the outside of the gate. Leading out with her comes Sister Sledge. Far outside is Warwiecki, jumping up on her accelerator early. Backed off Sorella into 4th. 5th away at the fence, left out Ramona Hill. 6th parked at her wheel is Fortune Starlet. From the second tier, Who's Blues racing along 7th now. 8th inside Princess Party Pants. Back to 9th for Tricky Sister. Trailing 10th, She Rocks Kemp. First panel in 27 flat. Warwiecki shot to the front at long odds. Into the pocket position, Trina. Sister Sledge attacked early, and she'll attack again as Filion hustles her up on the outside, and she'll brush powerfully to the front. Hot on her heels comes Sorella into 4th now. Ramona Hill's in no hurry in the early going. She's back there racing 5th for McCarthy, but underway as the field marches to the midway point. And there goes Sorella shooting to the front. Sorella with a snap move in the backstretch, clears right at the half in 55-1. The tempo is strong up front, and Sorella will lead the field to the final turn. Now the pressure comes outside from Ramona Hill as she's second in at the leader's saddle pad. Soon to be at the bridle with 3/8 to go. It's Ramona Hill on the outside, Sorella at the inside. 3rd to Sister Sledge, Fortune Starlet outside 4th. 5th inside to Warwiecki as they race to 3/4 next. And Ramona Hill took command, and she leads by 3 lengths. She's by 3/4 in 1:23-1. Coming into the stretch, Ramona Hill widening out her lead now. She's got 4 on the field. Back in second is Sorella. Sister Sledge pops out late from 3rd, and up the inside, Fortune Starlet 4th. McCarthy sneaks a peek in the rearview mirror, and it's nobody home as Ramona Hill, she's home. Ramona Hill wrapped up coming to the line. A devastating performance to win the Elegant Image final. She won it by 4 lengths, and she's home in 1:51 4/5. She has equaled the Elegant Image stakes record with that mile. Ramona Hill flawless again.
Stakes record equaling performance of 1:51-4. You get the impression, Mark McKelvey, that head Andrew McCarthy wanted to ask her for a little bit more late. Might have been able to lower that mark. Wow.
Yeah, that was just a dominating performance. And going into that race, you know, I think a lot of people weren't completely separating her from Sorella by that much. But then you see a performance like that. I mean, that's just dominance on display from Ramona Hill in a race that saw a lot of early action. You know, they mixed it up, and Andrew McCarthy doesn't look like he was ever anxious or wasn't getting impatient at any moment. He knew what he had, and she just trots on to the dominating score in the Elegant Image, equals the stakes record, misses the track record by just 1/5 of a second.
And you just wonder now what it will take to beat her the rest of the season. You know, if everything stays good with her right now, she is absolutely dominant. Sister Sledge certainly justifying that confidence they had in her and placing her into the Hambletonian earlier this year. That's a good 2-move effort to come on in the stretch and pick up second. And Sorella, good effort as well. She was hard used in the middle half and holds on for 3rd, just beat for the place spot.
Yeah, again, for Sister Sledge, has always had that ability. It was a great 2-year-old season. 3-year-old season's been a little up and down, but that's a good performance. You talked about it. That middle half would have taken a bit out of her making that move. She carries Sorella up to the half pretty good there, 55-1, and then comes back by her in the lane to finish second, getting a nice payday for that. But Andrew McCarthy, motionless in the pike here behind Ramona Hill, just sitting chilly. If there was ever You wanted to put that in the dictionary. Just put that photo beside it.
And, you know, a lot of them talked about just wanting to pick up a good check or pick up some money in this spot. And that's what Fortune Starlet did at 60 to 1. Rounds out your top 4 for local conditioner Meg Crone. I'm sure would be happy with that result. And driver Louis Philippois has had a good night and gets a nice result there as well. So it's a 1-6-3-4 top finish. Ramona Hill, flawless in victory. Now, she doesn't have the overall body of work of some of the other champion fillies of yesteryear, but with each of these wins she's racking up and the way she's doing it, she's going to start to get herself in the conversation of greats, all-time greats.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. Any filly that can ever win the Hambletonian, right there, that gives you the opportunity to go down in the history books. But with that kind of performance and what could lie ahead for her, it's going to be a lot of fun to see what's next for Ramona Hill. And the big question now, I think, is do we see her take on the boys at any other point this season? I'm not sure where that opportunity would be. The Hambletonian and the Oaks is the real opportunity just because the purse is so much bigger on the male side. You get to a race like the Breeders' Crown, there really isn't much of a difference unless you're just trying to, like you said, stamp yourself as one of the all-time greats. So maybe there could be that opportunity down the road. Maybe it's a race like the Kentucky Futurity. Who knows? But for Ramona Hill, again, if she just keeps going out and putting in performances like that, it doesn't matter if she's beating boys, girls, unicorns. She is going to go down as an all-time great.
And there's Brad Grant of Milton, the co-owns along with Crawford Farms Racing, Robert LeBlanc, and the In the Gym partners. Congratulations to all of the ownership group, winning trainer Tony Alagna and Andrew McCarthy. McCarthy pulls off the big double tonight, wins the Canadian Trotting Classic. But talk about polar opposites. He did that on odds of 60 to 1 with Chestnut Hill back in race 5. Then caps off her coverage with Ramona Hill, $3.10 winners. We had a quick look at the mutual returns from that Elegant Image, and they don't come a whole lot easier than that. Ramona Hill now 6 for 7 on the season, and that victory will put her well over $900,000 in seasonal earnings Canadian as she closes in on the $1 million mark. It's certainly in her sights here this season. So we're just waiting for the winning connections to make their way over across the track, and Chad Rozema will catch up with them in a moment. I wonder where we'll see Ramona Hill next. Obviously, Breeders' Crown will be on the radar. Maybe a trip to Lexington? Who knows?
You would have to think Lexington, but more than likely be the next stop. But you could race in the Kentucky Filly Futurity. That's where I was saying maybe there's a chance to take on the boys there, and she won't have to go too far. You move to Lexington now with her, and then head over to Indiana for the Breeders' Crown. So we'll see exactly where Tony Alagna elects to have her race next, but she looks great, and she's been really well managed. Not too many starts really under her belt, considering that was just her 7th start of the season and 14th overall to this point.
And, you know, there was a little bit left in the tank, and you like to see that too, because it is a long season, and those big miles, no matter how easy they make it look, they take a little bit out of a horse over the course of a season. So Ramona Hill looks like she has been well managed this year and heading in the right direction to Lexington, most likely. We've got the winning connection standing by. Let's send it over trackside.
That performance here tonight, Andy.
She was as good as ever tonight. She's just such an amazing filly, you know, just unbelievable experience just to be able to sit behind a horse like that. You know, she never really got out of second gear tonight, just kind of worked her way to the front and never really had to ask her at all. She just, she's done it pretty easy.
Plugs were still in, I saw.
Oh, yeah. Just kind of, you know, she kind of runs out a little bit in the stretch sometimes, so I just turn the whip over just to touch her to straighten her back up, and you know, but yeah, she was wrapped up.
Are you excited to cut her loose someday, or do you not even think about that?
I had to one night. She trotted 25 and 4 the last quarter, so yeah, you know, I try not to. Try to protect her as best I can, you know what I mean, and try and save the really big miles for the important ones, and you know, but she really is. She's a freak.
This just makes your trip to Canada that much more special, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You know, that's the reason I'm up here away from my family is Ramona, you know. So, you know, it's been a terrific night. But, yeah, it is really special to be able to be involved with a horse like this, let alone have this much success.
Congratulations on a huge night, Andy. Good luck with her in the future.
Thanks, Chad.
All right, we're going to bring in co-owner Brad Grant. And Brad, congratulations. And, I mean, she's such a special filly. I don't need to tell you that, but I know you've wanted to see her in the States. We know the situation. But for you to get to see her up close in your own backyard, how excited are you to see her win these races?
I don't know what to say. I mean, I've never won this race. It's on my bucket list, being right in our own backyard here, and to have her here and really not know how good she is. I mean, as Andy said, she was in second gear. That doesn't excite you. I don't know what does.
For you and Bonnie, when you're sitting here watching this filly race, what's the emotion like?
It was a little easier tonight because she was up by a little bit, but
okay.
You know what? She's done so well, you almost expect her to win every night. But if she doesn't, I mean, they're going to throw a bad race once in a while, but she's met our expectations, and we love it.
Talk about the last 11 months. I mean, you've got a couple Breeders' Crown trophies. You got a Maple Leaf Trot. You got another Hambletonian trophy, and now you've got an Elegant Image. How can you describe the past year?
Well, I didn't win the North American Cup. No, I jokingly, you can't. I mean, it's just been unreal for me and Bonnie and the people I associate with that look after the horses, and Tony and the other trainers and that. I mean, it's a dream come true.
Well, we love having you being a part of our sport. You're such a huge supporter, and congratulations on all the success and all the best in the future.
Thanks very much.
All right, there's Brad Grant. His special filly, Ramona Hill, dazzles in a stakes and track record time performance in the Elegant Image in 151-4.
Yeah, you can see the excitement on Brad's face, and Chad's right. I think that's a popular victory. I think those that know Brad Grant, are happy for him. He's put a lot into the game, and boy, he's really seen the rewards. He's always had some good luck, but I mean, this last year and a half's been a real whirlwind for him.
Yeah, it's been quite the run. You heard Chad ask him about the fact that he couldn't go to the Hambletonian, so he missed out on that experience. Of course, he did have it a few years back with Atlanta, but it's obviously a different time, so it's special for him, I'm sure, to get to see up close and personal this just amazing filly. And Brad, as Chad said, he's one of the biggest supporters, one of the biggest owners, and he is somebody in this sport that we need, and you love to see somebody who gives so much to it get rewarded, and that's exactly what's been the case for Brad Grant. And anytime you hear his interviews, they're just so genuine, because you catch him taking a moment just to collect his thoughts. He's not one that's ever just blowing smoke. I mean, he is telling it from the heart. You know how much this means to him, and this is why he does it.
Yeah, and we've been blessed to see so many great champion fillies over the years. In recent years, Manchego, of course, Atlanta, now Ramona Hill, and we've got a very talented 2-year-old filly here based locally named Donna Soprano. And the reason I bring her up is because we've got a race coming up 1 week from tonight as part of our spectacular September of racing here called the Mohawk Million, the first ever event, and we can't help but wonder, will she occupy one of the spots?
It's possible. Determination. We know that they will already send out On a Streak because he won the William Wellwood Memorial, but Serge Gonez Determination had purchased a slot, so they have a spot, and they have to put a rookie trotter in there. And obviously they've got some pretty good candidates to choose from. Maybe they do go with the filly. Maybe Macho Martini gets another chance to rebound. We saw him make a break here tonight after he suffered his first loss last week in the Wellwood. Here tonight, not necessarily a break he made on his own. Might have got wiped out a little bit there, but I'm sure right now, the clock is obviously ticking. The deadline is noon on Monday, but I'm sure Serge Godin, his trainer Luc Blais, they are weighing their options. I think it would be pretty cool to see the filly in there, but there's lots to take into consideration.
Well, it's been a September to remember here at Woodbine Mohawk Park, and what a way to wrap it up next Saturday. You saw some of the marquee events, the first ever Mohawk Million, the Metro for 2-year-old colt pacers, She's a Great Lady, the filly counterpart, the Milton Stakes, all part of next Saturday's program here. And we'll be back with you again on COSA-TV as we take a look at some of our upcoming shows. We'll District kicks off their fall meeting on October 9th. 3-year-old colt pacers in the Ontario Sire Stakes will invade the London Oval. We'll be down there. Back here the next night with OSS Grassroots Championship Night, October 10th. And 1 week later, the OSS Super Finals. So a lot to look forward to here. And we wrap up the season in November. SBOA Stakes will be our final show in the month. A lot of fun to bring to you. Again, we want to thank COSA for making it all possible. We hope you've enjoyed tonight's broadcast, and we hope to see you again 1 week from tonight. From Greg, Mark, Jamie McDonald, and the crew behind the scenes, so long from Woodbine, Mohawk Park.